You're listening to White Noise with your host, Drip, 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 Drip.
We're back. White Noise, year 2, episode 12. As always, I am your host, Davis, aka Drip, joined by producer Khal, founder of Black Wrestling. On this show, we'll be talking heavy spoilers for John Wick Chapter 4, which was released this weekend, and Amazon's Swarm, the show that's had a timeline of Beys this past week.
Yes.
Before we go into that, and I'll try to give you listeners fair warning, you listeners and watchers, but some news dropped. But there was some news I forgot last week because there was a whole bunch happening last week.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that it was announced that Quentin Tarantino's 10th and final film is in the works, titled The Movie Critic.
It's set in the 70s.
Yeah, So his career is weird when you think about how he starts in the present day, meaning his own present day, the 90s, with Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, and even the movies that he wrote but didn't direct. True Romance, obviously, and Natural Born Killers.
Facts. Big classics.
And
big commentaries on their time as well.
Exactly, especially Natural Born Killers and the murder and does TV make murderers, but then Oliver Stone did his own twist on it.
It all made sense.
And then True Romance is just like still a Tony Scott film, but like you can tell like Quentin Tarantino would have made that just as well as Tony. I think his version of True Romance would have been interesting, just like how Tony Scott originally wanted to do Reservoir Dogs.
Right. Well, I think
we talked about this once before because
I'm sorry. The one thing I'm thinking about with True Romance is that movie is so quirky. Yeah. But I think Tony Scott isn't a quirky director. So like when fucking Alabama is doing like she's speaking Japanese and like they're having these weird conversations and fucking Bronson Pinchot's got a whole thing of Coke with the chick in the car. like it's played more as just some straight shit that happens in the world as opposed to like the more over the top hilarious comedy bits that they really are. So a director like Tarantino and like a pre-Pulp Fiction phase doing a True Romance would have been very interesting.
I think it just would have been Pulp Fiction, but with that story is what it was. Given how he went on to tell Pulp Fiction, it's kind of similar in its themes of.
I mean, can I be real with you?
Operating around LA and drugs and
story. The story of True Romance isn't better than the story of Pulp Fiction.
Oh, it's not. And when you think about, because
it's not.
What's funny is when you think about how him and Roger Avery created True Romance. I mean, Pulp Fiction together. I just watched a video where someone talked about how Roger Avery is credited as story credit, not a screenwriter credit, even though they basically co-wrote the film together in the screenplay. But Tarantino fought to get sole credit, and that might have caused a rift between the two that they had
maybe changed some stuff in the movie.
No, just in terms of Tarantino taking sole credit for the screenplay and only giving Roger Avery story credit.
He did that with Pulp Fiction.
Yes, because
I remember. I think I saw the video you're talking about. It was a two-parter.
Cinema Sticks. Mm-hmm. That's been recommended to me the past couple of weeks. So I'm like, because I like watching like movie video essays and stuff like that.
But in the because there's a lot of YouTube video essays. That two-parter on the Pulp Fiction writing credit specifically is a really good series.
Because the details of like Roger Avery's voiceover,
everything
what happened, where he's like, we wrote this script together because he went to Europe. I had been to Europe at some point. We come up with these crazy stories. At one point, we all laid them together. I take a break. He pieces them all together. Right. So it's maybe like Tarantino saying, like, I arranged all of it for a final version, whereas like you just helped set it up. And then him being, again, an auteur, like it has to be my name written and directed by, which is why he's like, can you just not take.
But you know what it was, Drip. The thing is you can't forget that Reservoir Dogs happened. Like and Reservoir Dogs.
He was saying like, this needs to just be from me and by me.
But
no offense.
Because the thing is Miramax. Fuck the motherfuckers that ran Miramax, the Weinsteins. But Miramax comes in and they want Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know who Roger Avery is. They want Tarantino because of Reservoir Dogs. So that's why Tarantino, I think, had to say, hey, bro, this movie's not going to get made unless it says story by. Well, I mean, he's also jealous, but I'm not jealous, but selfish. But
like I told there should be people who have a singular vision, and it's my way or the highway, basically. But they've patched up within the last year because I talked about
they got a podcast, right?
Yeah, this Video Archives podcast. Right. I bet they were probably friends the whole time, but it was I could imagine that being a rift, especially if you guys win an Oscar like they did.
I'd be surprised that, like, I think when because Roger Avery did Killing Zoe,
and Rules of Attraction, the other Bret Easton Ellis book that was popular in the late 90s or early 90s.
I was going to say, like, that early to mid 90s, like after Pulp Fiction dropped, it's not like Roger Avery didn't eat, but he didn't eat like Tarantino ate. But
that's the thing where, like, if this was instead of a story by. It's remember in The Star Is Born. Did you ever watch The Star Is Born? The Bradley Cooper.
No, but I'm with you. I know the story.
But there's this amazing scene where Sam Elliott and Bradley Cooper have a fight, and they're brothers, which is insane.
Which is crazy. Yeah. What's the time difference there? Yeah.
Yeah. The whole, like, Bradley Cooper tell the story, or like, this is a whole again. Someone's like in the comments, get to the topic.
Right, yeah. Y'all waste too much time. No, I'm just kidding.
But Bradley Cooper says, like, his dad knocked up my mom. Who was like this woman on a farm, but like there was a 30-year difference between us and something like that. People thought we were like a father-son band when they started, but like Bradley Cooper kind of talks like Sam Elliott in the movie famously. And there's a scene in which Sam Elliott's like, if I was no fucking good, why'd you steal my voice? And then Bradley Cooper's like, because you had nothing to fucking say. And that's probably like Tarantino and Roger Avery a little bit, where like the reason I'm making it, and I would have made it anyway with your help a little bit, but I'd still be on the trajectory upward, whereas like you might have not been. Like, if I gave you co-screenwriting credit, maybe you would have got some more jobs and this and that, but and that's what happens.
Cold though. But
think about it with the John Wick franchise, because the first one is technically co-directed by David Leitch. But the DGA only gave Chad Stahelski directing credit, and David Leitch went on to do Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, and then last year's Bullet Train, and this next year's The Fall Guy. Damn. So he's carved out a pretty good career.
That's right. He is doing The Fall Guy. I forgot. He's getting some good looks.
But meanwhile, Chad Stahelski has stayed within the John Wick lane. That's the only thing, and that's an interesting dynamic. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Is that these two guys who co-directed this first one guy's like, I'm just going to live in this house and build it up more. Like, this other guy's, no, I'm going to go buy a house here. I'm going to go buy a house here, and and this and that. But where are we going? Oh, Quentin Tarantino, his new movie, The Movie Critic, set in the 70s. We're saying like how he's going backwards in time, because even Kill Bill is maybe contemporary, but there's a lot of like flashbacks, tells a story over time. But it seems like it's maybe 2003 when it's set, when the bride has awoken from her coma.
No, yeah, it didn't feel like it was too far from regular time when it came out. It's just the aesthetic, it's how Tarantino sees his cinematic world. I don't know, man.
Well, then he goes to Inglourious Bastards, and that's obviously during the reign of Hitler. He goes to Django Unchained, which is obviously during slavery. Then The Hateful Eight, which is post-slavery.
But this is the 70s.
And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is 69. It's right before this movie's supposed to take place. So he obviously had a fascination of wanting to stay within this realm of.
He got no modern story. Tarantino can't tell a modern tale.
He's if you hear him on podcasts, he's
stuck back in the day.
No, he hates modern movies. He's like, they don't make good movies anymore. And I think he doesn't want to tell a story that has to be like trapped in this world. How old
is this man?
He must be 60 something now.
Because I'm an old man, and I think I say that, and people are like, you so fucking stupid. Like, why are you talking?
Well, he talks about being because he wrote a book version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he talks about being in the book.
I need to read that. Yeah.
So do I. He talks about being a child in the book, maybe 4 or 5. I'm thinking that would be 69. So he must be
He turned 60 at the end of this month.
Actually,
Monday he turned 60.
Oh.
So a day after this hits Patreon, he'll be turning 60. Where I'm at right now, Drip, I'm going to be turning 42 this year, and I'm already on the like. I've heard this song sampled a couple times, so I don't need to hear the new like pop. Like you get settled in your ways. You know what I'm saying? So if the 70s is where Tarantino is in terms of creativity and being a director, I understand it, but know that it's not for me. Know that at a certain point, I'm like stepping outside of whatever world because I don't care about this time.
I understand that, and I get it too, because it is the thing where it's like I've always kind of wondered why he stayed within like the realms of the past, but then he basically created historical fiction too, with like killing Hitler, saving Sharon Tate. I mean, spoilers, no offense, but it's like he wanted to like rewrite history in like a creative way, and to be honest, like that's what you should do with movies. Like a movie can be anything. Like you can save JFK if you wanted to save JFK,
but facts. But I think I mean, this is kind of conversation I want to have. It's like, if you're a creative, I know I can guarantee you that no matter how many films he wants to make, Quentin Tarantino's got like a shot. He's got a list of all the movies he would want to make if he had infinite time in the world. But I think the thing is he's said after the 10th film, I'm done.
Yeah, he's gonna write books.
Which cool. We both said we need to read the Once Upon a Time in America book.
He wrote Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the book version, which is supposed to add extra stuff, and then he wrote a film criticism book last year. But he's talked about writing either like novels or more stuff like that, more criticisms on film, because that's what this movie is about. The Movie Critic is what it's called, about a female movie critic in the 70s, which they say is supposed to be based on Pauline Kael a little bit, who was the critic of that time period, and was a big influence on his life in terms of getting into film and what films to watch, and seeking out certain things and how to judge film on its merits or not, what's on the screen. Like
is this his Oscar bait film? Because he's not really been up in there in terms of like.
No, every film the past couple of years the last 4 films have been Oscar films.
What's he won though?
He won screenplay for Django, and he was nominated for screenplay, I think, for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But Inglourious Basterds was Best Picture, and obviously Christoph Waltz walked away with 2 Oscars for Inglourious and Django.
He won for Best Original Screenplay for Pulp Fiction and Django. Yeah, that was it. Mm-hmm. In terms of major awards, anyway.
Because they know they should reward him and that he, makes a great film.
He got some Globes as well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Academy's probably like, and this guy does too much for us to like say it's the best.
And like the depiction of women and the violence, like I don't.
Well, everything. I think we're like, they respect it, but it's also like, are we really going to give it to? I don't know how they vote, because it's just like, how do they give everything everywhere all at once? Which is also, I'd say, like, without having seen it, that's basically a Quentin Tarantino film on the surface of like, you're doing what in this movie?
They don't. Which is the problem with the institutions. Like, I don't want to say we need an institution where it's like 500 drips, where they're watching a specific thing or they're watching all types of stuff from right now. You need a mix of everything, but you definitely don't need a bunch of old white people who they may know Quentin Tarantino, but this is like the only film of this genre that they're watching that year, which is what happens. But Tarantino doing 10 films is great, but the problem is it's his 10th film to make, and it may not be what I want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care for a film about a woman who's a critic in the 70s and whatever she has to deal with and whatever type of fuckery he's going to throw at her. I would love to see a Vega Brothers.
So famously there are the Tarantino films that never got made and never will get made if this is gonna, because he has said like he wants to stop at 10, but he has preference like maybe I would do one more, but after the 10th I am gonna stop thinking about it for a while. But if I were to ever come back, if something were like to awaken it back in me, or if after I get out of the game and realize like I want to keep doing it. Because he also
Kill Bill 3.
There was that report he wanted to make a TV show last year. Or he will be making a TV show at some point. I can't remember where, but it was like he plans to make a miniseries, and they weren't sure like what it was about or where it was going to be.
It's going to be Paramount Plus. Watch.
Well, currently this movie doesn't have a studio yet.
That's the other thing, yeah.
But he left, the Weinstein Company and Miramax, and Miramax had been bought out, but it was that he was working with the Weinsteins, and Sony Pictures became the home of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because that was his first film post the Harvey Weinstein scandal, and that was like a hot thing. Like, who's going to buy Tarantino's next film? Is it going to be? He said it wasn't going to be Netflix. Like, he wasn't going to take because he has to be theatrical, just like Chris Nolan. Once he left Warner Brothers, is like, this movie plays in the theater or it doesn't play at all. And then Universal's like, it plays in the theater, bro. Here's the fucking money. Like, but yeah, would it also say like this is his 10th film because technically he counts Kill Bill as one film. They just had to break it up.
Hey, wait!
They had to break it up because his original vision was one film, but Harvey Weinstein was like, "It's too long to get there."
But what do you
sit through 3.5 hours?
Is Kill Bill one film or two films?
That's always tough to me because I always like one a little bit more, but then when I watch two, I'm like, "Fuck, this one's great too" because it has the David Carradine performance at the front and the end.
Two's a great film. They're both really good films.
Yeah, and to me, it is one film because. You obviously do see like they broke it up into two purposely because again, otherwise like the whole bloody affair, which I would like to watch, and they say like there is certain stuff taken out and some stuff put in, is like 3 hours and 20 minutes maybe or something like that.
Is there? Hold up, the whole bloody.
I don't think you can watch it as is, but like it was a thing for like if that's how it premiered at whatever festival it premiered at, and they did special.
No, you're right.
And they did special screenings years later, like it would like probably at his New Beverly, which that's the theater he owns. He would probably do like Kill Bill as it was meant to be seen, all 3 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it is, because he probably wasn't like, I'm not gonna sell a DVD where it's one movie. Fuck him.
215 minutes is what the whole bloody affair is supposed to run. This is as of
I read a description once of like what was different. Like they said like it doesn't have the Klingon proverb of revenge is the best dish served cold.
I don't think that's. I don't know if it's officially dropped though.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Damn. My wife loves those films. I may have to watch them tomorrow.
So this is a no for you, just in terms of like tell a different story, bro. Like,
I mean,
because obviously you're into the works of Tarantino, but you're also like, can we? Do you again like like he couldn't do the Vega brothers because they aged out of it, and he obviously wasn't going to do Scorsese and de-age him.
Look,
Kill Bill 3 was Zoe Saldana famously being Nikki grown up would be like too like
no, that's trash. That's if you got a
Killer Crows, which was the companion piece in Glorious Bastards, in which a black platoon rises against a racist.
I don't want that
squad leader.
That sounds like trash.
And then I think he had one more. There was the Django Zorro idea
with
that him and Gerard Carmichael that they turned into a comic book. And I think there was one. He was supposed to write a Star Trek film, not direct it. But I don't even think they're going to take his script, given what Paramount's doing.
The Quentin Tarantino kind of idea shit is cool. We don't need that. All that shit sounds great. Get out of here.
But what would he tell now? Like he probably is a guy that doesn't even like iPhones. I bet he's a guy who's like, what's he have to say about people taking Ubers in LA?
Well, I'm
like,
gonna say,
do you got a tip on the fucking Square reader? Like, think about Reservoir Dogs, the diner scene in today's society.
No, Drip. I think this is the problem, though. Well, I don't know if it's a problem. Problem may be a bad word. Quentin Tarantino is a product of a certain age, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to
back in my day,
no, but for real, like once you get to Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin Tarantino's like, hey,
yeah,
he's Nintendo cartridges, he's DSL fucking internet. Like there's only you can only go so far. Like once
If that, no one's ever on a computer. Max Cherry buys cassette tapes still.
But what I'm saying is, like, once you go wireless, you can't do Quentin Tarantino because he's a product of a particular age. So I'm not surprised that, and I think he could do a modern film, but I think the way he thinks, it's so tethered to reality, but like reality in the sense of we know that for years this has made sense. This Wi-Fi thing, I don't know where the waves are coming in. I don't know how this works. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he's kind of old. He's gonna be 60. Like, there's a certain
well, I don't think he's not Spielberg. He's not into technology. He's not into gadgets. It's again, like Scorsese's the same voice. Scorsese made The Irishman, and before The Irishman, he made Silence, and before that, he made Wolf of Wall Street. So I think we're like, The Departed was probably his most modern movie, but that was like they had, flip phones still, and like that's the biggest thing. It's like, again, and I'm not blaming these guys. They're probably like, if I don't know anything about it, I shouldn't dive into it.
No,
and Scorsese only did The Departed because he saw the Infernal Affairs film, and he's like, I can do this, with my vision. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't remember how we got here.
Well, I mean, that was the bit of news
wait,
because last week.
But the one thing we didn't mention is Jordan Peele's movie.
That's what I had on the docket. Yeah, because if you want to put that image up too.
Hey, we want to see his fourth directorial film. Jordan Peele is dropping Christmas 2024.
Correct.
That's all the info we got.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I wonder, because Tarantino's was supposed to be filming this fall. Who knows if they both eye a December 2024 window? Or
that'd be interesting. Maybe.
Would that be like kind of a passing of the torch in your eyes? Because to me, it kind of would seem funny. Where like this guy's last film versus this guy's fourth film.
No disrespect, Quentin. You're on your way out, bro. Pick a date. Do not pick Christmas 2024. I don't know what Jordan Peele has in store for that December, but he picked that day. Like,
it's 1 week after Avatar 3 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So some stiff competition is Jordan Peele's fourth
You're assuming all that is going to be on track to drop at that point.
Cameron said those films are in the vault just ready to be released. Like, they're good to go.
We'll see. We ain't seen shit from them shit yet, but we'll see. But my thing is, when I remember the Christmas, I was cooking waffles and he dropped the Us trailer, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If the movie's going to drop Christmas time, there's a reason it's dropping Christmas time for whatever reason. Quentin Tarantino, November, October, September, figure it out. Maybe even a couple weeks before Jordan drops. You better not drop Christmas week. That's all I'm saying. Whenever Jordan's dropping, Quentin, you drop 2 weeks before.
Well, then I wonder what he's thinking about since Get Out, because Get Out dropped in February.
You got to think of again. It's Christmas 2024.
No, but I mean, like, Get Out was either late February or early March, and it had to wait the whole year for the next Oscars.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry.
I think he's thinking. No, I think he's thinking about that because
exactly
Us was March, and again that was a step down in people's eyes just in terms of too much story.
No, but don't worry about again. Nope.
But then he wanted to make a summer blockbuster. Like wanted to make.
It was a summer blockbuster. It was a 50s spectacular.
Yeah.
Like there was so much going in there. Christmas time in movies these years. It's either
Oscar
big. Bait. Well, it's either Oscar
bait. Pressure in people's minds.
There's big. There's always some type of epic film, whether it's a comic book or it's a Lord of the Rings or something like that, or it's just some other type of big film. We don't know. We didn't know what Nope was going to be. We damn sure don't know what this film's. It could be anything. It didn't say horror, right?
There's nothing at all. It just says Jordan Peele film 2024. That's all it is.
We got a year to change. Be ready.
Genre, nothing.
This time next year, hopefully we got some news.
Well, yeah, because it'd be coming out a few months later.
I'm just saying, just keep it in mind. Like,
what do you hope it'll be?
We're telling you this at the end of March. Keep it. I hope it's scary. I hope Jordan Peele is making a big. I don't want it to be like some holiday film, just like some big,
no.
epic film that also is going to scare the shit out of me during the holiday season. That's it. But he's one of the few creatives where I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but I will be there for it just because he's so good and he understands me.
And he's the guy that can make films in the modern day.
Facts.
But even then, he likes going back to the 90s or the early 2000s. Like his fascination with like Stephen Yeun's character being a child star of the 90s. And
that was us as well. Yeah, it was a whole Michael Jackson thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole breakdown of that SNL sketch of, Hey Gordy, and the cast members at that time. He has he might make a movie about Hollywood of in itself. I mean, basically that's what. Yeah, at some point there will be like a Jordan Peele makes like a film, the movie critic type film about someone in Hollywood, because I mean he could do it. I think he knows, by being someone who rose the ranks from Mad TV to Oscar winner, he'd probably have something to say or commentate on.
I'm with it.
But he also wants to be Carpenter meets Spielberg, and Christopher Nolan, which makes sense. Like,
there's a lot going on there, though.
Yeah, but you see, he has, again, like the way he shoots the final 40 minutes of Nope, I think is still the best thing of last year.
No, you're right.
And again, he, like, the way horses are captured on film is, sometimes majestic as is, but like, he's like, what if a fucking UFO chased a horse? Who else would have thought of that? Yeah.
Anyway, where are we at, Trip? What are we doing this week?
There was not much else in news, so do you want to get to oh no, Succession will be back this week. Succession's back. Are you hyped, Cal? Because I kind of forgot it was this week.
Am I hyped? I'm gonna tell you this, Trip. I've already watched it. I already watched the premiere.
Oh shit! I wonder, because in your place of employment has done some stellar work with
Succession is
in the past.
No, literally this week. There's a couple of pieces about.
But yeah, but I mean,
how many times they say the F word.
Yeah, over the years, that's why I started. That's why I started watching the show, because the Watch podcast I would listen to.
No, it's a big. And Succession's like, a big deal over there.
Yeah, the show Succession's come out. Like, well, I gotta check this. And these guys, but I hated that first season. I thought it was awful.
So
when the second season came in, I'm like, I guess I'll give the show another try, and it was fucking.
But you needed the finale of season 1 for season 2.
Not really. And just
you sure?
Like, just the act, but not anything
spoiler
else.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
The fact that Kendall, he got a body on him.
Yeah, Chappaquiddick, yeah.
He got a whole body on him, and Logan knows.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally where season 2 started. Like, look, bitch, you killed somebody.
Well, it starts with like your dad says you need to come. He's like, but I have a mud appointment or whatever it was. Him saying like, but I got a spa appointment in an hour. They're like, your dad wants you back on the plane.
You killed somebody. You got to go back to work. And that's the nucleus of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. That first season, it's slow.
Very.
But like any other show, you need that season to understand. Because once you get to season 4 and the payoffs that they're going to give you based off of paying attention to what's been going on, oh, it's so glorious.
But it also would have worked maybe from the start of like, this son's always being controlled by the dad.
Of course.
And he wants to take control, but he can't because he's the fuck up. And then the other one is like too much of a wild card, being Roman. And then Shiv, it's the unfortunate part, like she's a woman, but she won't be, even though like, and then Conor Roy is just fucking an idiot because he thinks he can run for fucking president.
Yeah, he's fucking out there. But let me ask you a question, Drip. Honestly, and I'm not trying to wish anything on anybody, especially pre WrestleMania, but you wake up and you see, oh shit, Vince McMahon had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
That day, it's going to be Well, what happens if Triple H runs the whole company? What happens if Nick Khan's runs the whole company? Is Shane O'Mac gonna come back? He gonna run the whole company. Oh shit, Stephanie's still around. Maybe she wants to jump in. Oh look, it's Pat Patterson's son or whoever the fuck. Like, there's so much conversation that the beauty of a Succession is you get to see these shitty people reacting perfectly, not just like, oh, we're shitty people, so this is my trope, but like the writing is good for a bunch of shitty people in a situation that's going on right now. I understand that it sounds confusing because I'm kind of talking to the black people that ain't watched that show yet. There's a couple of y'all, but
all TV, especially shows about white people, they're all shitty people. Again, Seinfeld, it's like these are the worst people on the planet at the end of the day.
The difference
everything is their fault.
We're in an age. Well, I just saw on Instagram the other day. They were it was a voicemail of Michael Jackson wanting to buy Marvel Comics, and his thought. No, think about it. His thought was,
"I have the money. Why not?"
No. His thought. He saw the future. He said, "Look, we can make Marvel films. We can have Marvel theme parks. We can do all this stuff." He's a bad person. That deal wasn't going for him. Disney got the deal and literally did what supposedly Michael Jackson wanted to do. So like a lot of this stuff is going, it's conversations that we see all the time right now. If you're a pro wrestling fan, anything sexual assault, sexual allegation wise in WWE is Succession. If it
happened on Succession, remember
it happened on Succession.
Because
it's literally
every company
the show,
has this.
But that's the draw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares about anything but the fact that we're interacting with these conglomerates on the regular. And at a certain point, these uncultured, like not having any type of non-white friends type motherfuckers are going to have to get
any
checked.
friends.
Any friends. That's a fact.
Because even Stewie's not his friend. He fucks him over.
Stewie don't give a shit. Stewie's
amazing because Stewie's ruthless. Like
Stewie's worrying about Stewie. And Stewie's
that's
got
why
a lot of cards in the deck. Yeah.
And that's why the image I picked for the to talk about it is from my favorite episode of season 3, which is when they go and see Adrian Brody. And Kendall tries to be like a friend to Adrian Brody, but then when they have that speech on the fucking sand, Adrian Brody's like, "I know you think I'm some fucking idiot who just has a shit ton of money,
right?
But think again." And then, because Logan has said like some racial shit, and Kendall's like, "You think those lines about him being Jewish is gonna like win you like win your favor back? Like you're shit talking the guy. You think he's gonna vote for you now? Like, and he sees that you're an old man who's sick, like." He's gonna side with the young, healthy side, and he's like, "You're fucking this up by not making me in charge." And like he says in that episode, he's like, I think he says like, "Roman's a wild card, Shiv's an idiot, like she's bossing people around and doesn't know what to do." He's like, "I hear all these things going on," and that's what sends Logan into a tailspin because like, I'm right to be in charge, you just don't want to give it to me, like, which is how the show starts. It's his ascension day, and he's like, "I'm gonna stick around a few more years," and he's like, "What do you mean?" Like. Well, which what happened with Vince McMahon at some point. He was like, maybe this is the exit, and then they were like, it's never going to happen. And then like what we all speculate is like they kind of like told him these allegations were going to be a bigger deal than they potentially were, so like they kind of forced him out, and then he realized like, what the fuck, no they weren't, like it's like I just paid people, that was it. Like
it's crazy. It's sad how that works, but whatever.
But
shouts to pro wrestling.
But Succession is ending this season. This is the 4th and final season. I wish they would, even though again, like strip mining or milking everything for every piece of content is horrible. It's like, but the Waystar Studio show would be amazing. Like, because there were those little bits of like Roman worked at the movie studio and like
get them spinoffs off, man.
Was like running into the ground, or like he wanted like to make he didn't want to make the like animated kids film that made a shit ton of money. Because I think there was a point where like Greg's like, isn't it a good deal? Isn't it a big deal? Like this movie made like a bunch of money at the box office, and Roman's girlfriend was like, no, he didn't want to make this movie. He like,
jeez.
But like, and again, HBO doesn't have an entourage anymore, so like, I mean, to make a movie studio type show would work. So like, if they made Succession Waystar Studio. I'd be into that.
Makes sense. The way you explained it makes sense. I don't know.
But again, they wouldn't, because they'd have to be like one of the writers would have, because Jesse Armstrong wouldn't come back to, again, do Succession without the Roys.
Take it all down. Anyway.
Let's talk about Swarm. So again, this will be spoilers for all of Swarm's season.
We just talked about Swarm, but now you watched the whole show, huh?
So I watched the whole last week. We discussed episode 1, which had a lot to say and did a lot, to be honest. And then the rest of the series, up the ante, time in and time out. It was just, again, the second episode with the strippers was amazing. I thought that was also the funniest episode. Again, funny. I didn't know that was Paris Jackson until Fam said it, which was
funny,
hilarious. When again, the whole point of like, my dad's half, and she's like,
my dad's half
black. And even when they go to the house, like they go to the, I was grossed out. Okay, so again,
we'll gross you out.
We had talked about, like, is Donald Glover picking on these women? I don't think all women. Was he picking on these Beyonce stans? But at some point, it did seem like he was picking on a certain type of woman.
I could see that.
With the whole, like, she only eats junk food, and then, like, she's eating chips, and the guy wants to jerk off to that, and then
let me ask you a question.
Then she goes to the guy's house, and they have sex with the junk food, and that's like one of the grossest things.
No,
I've
it's
ever
weird,
seen,
but it's like, but like, think of, like, when you look at serial killer stuff on TV, or like you hear documentaries,
like, these people were disturbing and disgusting.
But it's always like some quirk, right? Like.
Yep.
And outside of killing them and skinning them, they like poured honey mustard, or like whatever the fuck it is. Think about
that works for the penultimate episode, which is the documentary episode, when she's like, all this food was half eaten except there was a bag of hot Cheetos. To me was like was a takeaway sign. The detective says that, like, this person has something going on with them. They eating certain type of food.
I think when I saw her, because I want to say after she killed Damson Idris, she like goes in the fridge and gets a pie or something like that.
Cherry pie.
She gets a cherry pie.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's connected to him, but I think for a child who, again, if you watch the show, she's a foster kid who ends up being a fan of, like, a lifelong fan of the pop star she grew up with. Maybe for someone who's in that system, the comfort is sugary, just nasty snacks. Because there was a scene in whatever episode it was where she was cleaning that white floor. She went into my man, he was like a YouTuber or whatever.
Yeah, which has the funniest moment when she's like, who is your favorite artist? And then he gives an answer, and then she's like, why did you say she couldn't keep her man? And he says, Twitter? Like, for real, this is over that? And then, like, kills him. But she goes into his pantry and then, like, takes everything.
Chips and the cakes and all the sugar.
After she saw, like, the fruit and like all, like, the vegan stuff in his fridge, she was like,
I assumed. I mean,
that's the same episode where the dude's like, I lost 100 pounds. Like, I was eating terrible, but now I eat good. I work out. And then she goes to eat the donuts in the middle of the night. He's like, you can eat them in front of me. Then they have, like, the most disturbing scene I've ever seen.
It's a sex scene, but it's for people who like eating fucking nasty food. But something tells me there's obviously a connection between the murders
and the food,
and I think it's
her indulges, I should say, right? It's like her.
If you
comforts.
figure if she's been a Naja fan since she was a kid, and I'm thinking of women who I've known who were big into Destiny's Child as kids. There were women who were in grade school. Maybe they went to see TRL live, or they're watching on TV and they're eating fucking Little Debbie's, or ho-hos or whatever the fuck. Like, there's a connection between my euphoria experiencing this artist and the food that I was consuming. Like, what was the one thing I saw on Instagram Trip? They said, have you ever heard the term a barrel of laughs?
I think so, yeah. That's
apparently
like someone's a barrel of laughs. You mean?
Apparently, the term "a barrel of laughs" is from when slaves weren't allowed to laugh out loud. So, in an act of defiance, they would laugh into a barrel. And sometimes they would laugh and run away. So now, when if you're at Wale Mania and you see a group of black people laughing and somebody happens to run away, that may be like ancestral trauma from learning how to deal with your laughter by not letting anybody see you laugh. Maybe it's a situation where Drea was on some I only watch Niger, I only watch whatever when I'm fucking I'm housing a bag of Doritos or some ho-hos, and now that I've let go of this murderous rage, the only thing that's going to be able to satiate that is fucking French fries or
well, they
snack
do
cakes or
try
whatever.
to dissect that a little bit when she's at the cult house
Mm-hmm.
with Billie Eilish, which I know everyone got, and
I love
rightfully
that
so.
episode.
That okay, so you did, and then I think the initial reaction I saw to it was like everyone was like they're overpraising Billie Eilish.
Man, get out of here! I can't read into all that. Billie Eilish did good. It was her first scene, right? Like her first thing.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where, like, of course, Billie Eilish would be a good actor because, like, she was a theater kid growing up. Like, she wanted to be in the entertainment industry.
She's
like,
already there. She was already
plays.
there.
She again is a musician. Like, she was someone born to be a star, and like acting probably wasn't going to be the initial thing, but it was like something she could do later on. But it was like she was good again. Like, but she's not the star of the snap scene. It's the faces Dominique Fishback makes when she's just stone faced giving these answers of like, what's your name?
Dre.
Kayla. But Kayla, and then like, you know, this and that, and like when the tears run down her face, and like they try to dissect like how she is the way she is. But then the next episode, which is the episode co-written by Malia Obama, which I didn't know at the time until after, and that's the episode in which fucking Leon shows up, as I told you,
with the shotty,
yeah. And you get the real origin story of like she was a foster kid, so she wasn't even Marissa's sister, which made sense that like because when you watch the pilot, she seems in love with Marissa a little bit, but then it's like she's sister, so it's like, oh, it's a sisterly love, so it makes sense. But then like when it's revealed that like they only took her in for a check because he said his mom was dying, his business was failing, so they needed that money. Which is also weird. It's like this very affluent family in which there's this affluent black family with 2 daughters. I'm like, now in hindsight, I'm like, is she writing into something that like I don't want to think up too deeply? Because
I mean, I'll say this. I think if you're kudos to the black family who's trying to bring in a foster kid. I think the key is you don't know. There's no way you can know everything about a kid that's being brought in. And I think that's the one thing about this show that people don't
that's
even
what the next
look
episode's
at.
about after that, the documentary episode. Yeah.
But I'm saying it's like, even outside of that, like people watch all 7 episodes of the show and they won't sit and think about the circumstances that would have created this person who became this mass murderer. Like it's not hard to see. They just need love. They need somebody there. Once somebody wasn't there, it was a wrap.
And that's why that final episode, particularly the final 15 minutes, it's like the toughest thing to watch
for y'all.
Her and Kirstie Clemens.
No,
how
I get
starts
it. Yeah.
And then how it ends. It is like a really like rough thing, especially when she's like when she basically tells her off about like, you bought Niger tickets with what money? I'm working extra jobs. I had to ask for money. I never do that. And you fucking bought these tickets. And she says like, to give her greedy husband more money than he needs. And then she's like, why didn't you wanted to buy me concert tickets, buy me tickets to see her sister? And I'm just like, wow. But then at the end, when she's just like, you're so selfish, when it gets to the real point of like a selfish partner who's only obsessed with one thing, guys, she says like, all you do is talk about Nyjah, and that's the number one thing I hate because it's the topic of our like it's one of the 5 topics we always fight about or whatever she says.
Did you feel weird that they were mentioning like so many in real life things for that show?
So you're talking about the bite, obviously.
The way they handled the bite is amazing in that show. But like,
I'd say like
the tour and like the way they did the tour images and shit like that.
Well, it's one of those things like we already know this from watching Atlanta, like Donald Glover's mindset of like, yeah, but I mean, like, you don't like how many people understand what he's trying to say with like Justin Bieber being black, like,
right?
Like, just was he saying that to be funny? It's like, no, the way you say black people act in the media when they are wilding out is how Justin Bieber is acting out, but no one's going to call him on it because now he's been saved by the Lord. Like, as he says at the end of the episode, like, this is a song for my new album. Thank you, Jesus, or whatever. Like,
perfect trajectory.
Or like the guy who's kind of supposed to be Cam Newton with the invisible car, like these commentaries on real life, but like in a it's still a fantasy world. Again, the Migos being the Migos, but also being like
great casting.
Who the Migos want to be in their songs, right? It's supposed to be that like these guys are like they're portraying the characters who they want you to seem like they are, like these guys who move weight and kill people, like they just kill a man in the woods for no reason.
Hey, I don't know you.
And then there's a 4th one, and he's an actual amigo in a way, which is still hilarious. Is like. So like for this show to do that with, she bites a woman because she's again in this moment of euphoria being walking distance from her in a way. Thanks. And then leaves because everyone's like, did you just bite Nyjah? And then as she leaves, someone's like, do you know who that was? That was the girl from Love and Basketball. Again, famously the rumor is that Sanaa Lathan bit Beyonce.
No, that was good.
Which I had completely forgotten until you reminded me when we talked about the first episode. And then when that came back around, I'm like, shit, like again, this is brilliant, right? I enjoyed the show from start to finish. I thought it was again a 9 out of 10. Again, and even the stuff that disturbed me, I'm like, well, that's what good horror is supposed to be. Like, I should be freaked out by like sex with food, and the murder stuff never really freaked me out. Again, like the cult stuff was again like that's how white women in cults would be like to me. Of like, this is cricket and we brand each other, and we all take hikes, and have hot saunas or whatever. It just seemed too accurate and too on the nose that like they try to like seduce her and like, oh, we can help you get to the concert, but then once the day of the concert, they didn't give a fuck. It's like they just wanted another member of their tribe.
Right.
Whatever even works, man. But yeah, and then the documentary episode. So they did that in Atlanta season 4 about the Goofy movie, right? Something similar.
Yeah. I want
to do like a making of like.
It was one of a couple things in that show that were very reminiscent of what they were doing in Atlanta before Atlanta paused. But yeah, that in particular felt like the what was it? The goof who sat by the door, or whatever the documentary was. Like it was episode 6 of Swarm. I thought was really well handled.
Again, I thought it was a tough watch because it seems so weird. Of like, were these again the real cases that they were trying to hint at with like this is intentional? These are based on actual.
That's kind of the point, right?
Stories. Well, I mean, obviously the woman's not a real detective. Great job by that actress who tries to be funny with, but it's also like, I'm a good detective. Like,
but I think the larger point of a show like this and that episode in particular is, when's the last time you heard about a black woman who was a serial killer?
And that's what she says, right? That she's like, I think this woman's a sister, right?
You don't get that. You don't hear that a lot. And when you start to look at the facts, whether it's the fast food or it's
the hair product, because she's like, she's a white. I see you. Okay,
the Nyjah connections, like there's a lot there.
No, not Nyjah, Beyonce, as they bleep out.
But I'm saying, I think that's key. They do a lot of bleeping in that. Yeah, that is key.
And that's again what I'm confused by. Like, do you want to make like a funny fake mockumentary, or like it was one of those things where like the world blending that Donald Glover's, production philosophy is, or writing style is, like works. But I was just like, what am I supposed to really believe? Like, should I take again, like there are women who are dedicated to Beyonce that act this way, or did they just smartly connect? Like 4 strippers were accused of murdering this truck driver, and this one man was murdered the week after his girlfriend committed suicide, as you know, this whole story starts. And then when they talk to the brother of that man, and then they find a foster family in which, you know, there's a widow and her daughter had passed away, and they did have a foster daughter who they had, you know, gave back to the, you know, to the service. And it was brilliant, but almost like this kind of, those last two episodes were really like the scariest thing
because it could happen
on the show. Yeah.
From what I read, Donald Glover, who has had the Amazon Prime deal, they hit him up like, "Yo, what's up?" He was at a panel at somewhere and heard someone say,
"Not the one you did with you."
No, not with me at all. We were talking about.
Would you have asked him about Swarm if it wasn't about only asking about Atlanta?
If I knew that they were working on Swarm since the beginning of the pandemic, yeah. But apparently he heard someone at a festival say, "How come we don't see any black women as serial killers?" I'm going to assume he had bars for stan culture, but from what I read, because they just were talking about this at South by Southwest, Janine Neighbors, who's a co-creator on the show,
yeah,
she
and I think
said
the showrunner as well. Yeah,
she said that at some point in 2016, after Beyonce dropped that album, there was rumors going around that a woman named Marissa Jackson had gotten killed. Big Beyonce fan, whatever. After that, they spent 2 days trying to figure out if it was real. They found out it was fake. After that, Donald Glover hit Janine and said, "Hey,
this is the story."
He said, "I want to do a show about," I think it was black. I gotta finally. I think it was black serial killers. She said, "Yo, I know the story." So it was kind of like, it was really organic, but it was really like, because I read something that said that somebody in the audience said, "How come there aren't any black women who are serial killers in these projects?" And Donald Glover said, "Bet, let me do it." So you've got that. Let's make a project about a black woman as a serial killer, and this conversation about stan culture. And those kind of, you've got documentary waves where people sitting at home are trying to become, you know, detective. That's probably why that black woman got the detective job there.
Yeah, because her story again is like, my husband died and I'm a detective now, and they don't think I can solve this case, but she's actually doing like the best job solving this case. Yeah, because she's like, I know black women and this is a black woman, and they don't believe it because it's like, why would a black woman do this? Right. Like you say, when you had said that last week, and like that was his sole idea for the show. I mean, or maybe his like real intent was a black woman.
That's where it started. The nucleus.
And to pick on the stands was funny. It was like, here's an extra creative seasoning on it. It's like, and like, what if, like, what's her reason to kill? She's dedicated to this artist. But then when you watch every scene, like, she's this really sympathetic, empathetic character that you feel like when the phone shuts off and she has that great scene with the guy at the desk, and he's like, something's going on here. I really want to help you, but this is too creepy. And then she tells like serial killers do, like she tells a story to the woman she used to know who worked with Marissa about like doing the makeup for her mother. And she's tears running down as it just continues to zoom in.
Damn, Drip.
Dominique Fishback's face. Because again, she kills it the entirety of the show, I'd be shocked if she doesn't get an Emmy nomination for, you know, lead actress of a miniseries, because that's what this will be eligible for.
Agree.
And even then, like, the final episode is hard to watch just because it's like the final 40 minutes of Goodfellas. It's like Henry Hill.
I'm gonna ask you, Drip, do you think Dominique had a wig on?
So Fam, Fam and I talked about this show in particular on was it Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah, the other day, yeah.
Or was it Monday? Because we had the meeting, and then Fam's like, I just finished the last episode. What the hell was on her head that last episode?
It may have been two. I remember he said one of the days during work he was going to
that was
finish the show, yeah.
Because it's like the episode before that, the documentary episode ends with she goes by Tony these days. And it, like, she has a different look, and it's like, has she transitioned, or is that just a good alias? And is she trying to seem more masculine? Which again, is that like was she maybe a lesbian the whole time? Like Damson Idris was kind of suggesting.
I mean, well, look, if you believe the story, she essentially fell in love with her adoptive sister.
Yeah.
But because of their status and what was going on, the family wasn't about that. So she was never able to really fulfill that. So once somebody else jumped on the sister, they got fucked up. And
well, it's
kind of
because
how
it seems like Kiersey Clemens is either bisexual or a lesbian, or just open minded. Like she's dating this person because she's attractive. Even though that encounter, like, would you continue to see someone if one, they offer to drive you and your drunk roommate home, and then you see them randomly in the, like, as they wander into this coffee shop nervously?
No,
and then
that seems like a lot.
Well, it's again, like, she starts to have like the downfall, like you can only go so far. It's like, like con men or serial killers for, like, you can't keep up the charade of like, how do you have a new car every few weeks? Like,
true,
you never have money, and it's like it's hard to watch because it's just like you don't want her to get away with it, but you kind of do. Like,
right. No, it's like, a lot. It's a lot going on there.
It's that day in Goodfellas where he's like, I gotta sell these silencers. I gotta go pick up this. I gotta go I stop at the hospital to get my brother. Then the doctor wants to check me out. It's like, it's this downfall. It's this come down from being high all the time. And for her, it's like,
sounds like me before I go out of town, honestly.
But for her, it's this downfall of like, she was able to get away with everything pretty much. Like, can you again, she murders Damson Idris, moves to Atlanta, or no, it's Tennessee, right? Yeah.
But let me ask you a question.
Becomes a stripper again, and the stripper scene is amazing when she's like, no one wants to see you dance that sad shit.
That first stripper scene is terrible. If I went there, whatever time of day it was, I'd be asked for a refund. She was so bad.
I mean, like, behind when she gets back in.
No, when she gets back is great.
And the lead stripper in charge is like, girl, ain't no one trying to see you dance. So it's about a dead baby.
But let me ask you a question though, Drip.
It's the funniest shit.
By the time, like, were you confused when she picked up whatever she picked up to bash Damson Idris' skull in?
Like that.
I feel like a lot of people were kind of like, what? Like, they didn't know what the show was going to be.
Well, when me knowing how Hollywood works, I expected that because I'm like, Damson Idris was filming the whole final season of Snowfall. He ain't had time to film 2 shows. No,
he was there for a week or 2, right?
Yeah, he was there for 2 days, Cal.
Right?
They did the scene with Chloe Bailey, which everyone talked about way too long.
Woo!
And then they did the scene in the mall, which he says cherry pie, and then they did that scene right after. Like, as fam could say cherry pie.
Cherry pie, yeah. He was the most West Coast Houstonian that.
Yeah, it's weird because what's the dude said? Like, what they call you, Houstonians? I like that. Like,
Houstonians, yeah. His Houston Rockets jacket was hard, but that was the hardest thing about it.
His fit was dope, but out of this, maybe I haven't watched P-Valley. I mean, maybe I should because I like it for a number of reasons. If I were to watch it, given that there are a lot of gorgeous women on that show, but a show about like strippers and their like crazy adventures would be funny because like when they like, oh, he got Bring It On DVD, we might have to stay. Like, and then at the end when she's about to attack him and he shows up right behind her, like, the fuck you doing?
Nah, that was brilliant. Because you think like for a show, you already saw her perfectly get ready to murk Damson Idris.
As like, he gets some tea. He's like, my mom makes some great tea. And then what
he's like, getting tea. She's in the
jerk chicken. He's like,
she's in the fucking back, like, yo, all right, this is my chance. Let me get this damn statue or whatever and bash his brains in. She goes, you already see that, and you know that she's a murderer. And then we have to go to Paris Jackson with the fucking, at the diner,
attach herself to her, like, yeah,
and she, they're in the backyard and she blows the brains out and shit. So like you're already like, Halsey. Yo, well, but I'm saying like she's kind of 3 for 3.
Yeah.
So when you see her in the bathroom, ready to do the damn thing,
it's like she's a pro. She knows what to do.
You would think that she was already on that level. When my man,
because she sprays the fucking frying pan with pepper spray.
She's a genius. But when my man pulled up behind her with the robe on and like, what the fuck? I was
when she kills the boyfriend, like she fucking smokes him out with the fucking gas, like the fumigation or whatever.
No,
she's wearing the mask and like she.
But I'm saying, Drip,
like she again, like as like a real serial killer. She's like, here are these crazy ideas of like how I would do it. I would fill the bathroom up with this, and he would come out and boom.
I don't want to sound crazy, Drip, but I think the thing is when you're at, because I thought about this while I'm watching the show.
What, would you fall for stuff like this?
No. I actually I'm on the other side where it's kind of like at a certain point, and I've heard this before. When you think about the fact that like I'm going to take this person's life, like you're like all the stuff that you would think about, like, oh well, this is taboo, like all that's done. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put fucking frying pan on this or cooking spray on this frying pan, and I'm gonna bash it on their head to see if it sticks or not. Like that's the type of shit people be thinking about when it's time to do some murder time. Like I'm not saying that's everybody, but
nah, yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
you kind of like you kind of unlock some achievements when you're ready to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because and even in the Cold episode, what she do? She just runs those bitches over. It's like
she don't give a shit. By the time the Billie Eilish episode come out, she sleep behind the wheel, literally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, I thought, and even the again these subtle moments, like you said, like she's at the after party, and she's talking to this guy. I'm on Grey's Anatomy, and I coined the term "Black Girl Magic," and I'm like, oh my god, they're talking about Jesse Williams right now.
Yeah, that was definitely Jesse Williams.
I'm like, it's like what a shot! Like that's.
But wait, Drip, did you ever read the script when the Deadpool show got canceled?
No, we talked about this last week. I never read the full script except some parts where he talked about Rich the Kid at some point. And that was it because he was the guy at the moment.
Remind me. I'll see if I can find the tweets. If not. I was so enamored with the script that I downloaded the images and made like a PDF, and because it's a genuine script, like there's scene direction and character quotes and shit. Like he wrote a whole script, but the bite was in there. The black person that killed by the Sacramento police was in there. You know what I mean? Like. Donald Glover in particular, it's the reason why Atlanta was what it was, because he's very good at understanding what the timeline is trying to see. If I saw Janine Neighbors at the end of an interview, she was like, yeah, if you have anything that you beefing with the show, here, tweet Donald Glover. Like he's so good at understanding the timeline that.
And to me, at the end of the day, that's why I don't have an issue. And as we said last week, and in our chat line, like you and I aren't qualified to speak on this. 100%. Me more so than you, because I am a straight white male, where you would, at least black women. You were raised by a black woman, so like you can 100%. Understand.
I know black. I want to know what a Keeks feels like about this show. I want to know what black women who. I mean, I say Keeks in particular because.
Well, either members of the Bayhive or just women
Texas,
who aren't Beyonce stands, just black women in general who feel who can either resemble Dominique Fishback's appearance or state of mind in that way, or her
100%.
The way she's portrayed on screen. But I still thought, as I said when we talked about it with him, I still think at the end of the day it was a fantastic piece of art, because that's what it was just trying to be. Was like, and sometimes art's provocative and it pisses people off, and.
That's I think that's the thing. I think because Drake,
whether it's intended to or not, and I think this did have the intention to piss a certain group of people off, meaning Beyonce stans. But I think it also wanted to like make people laugh at like the wrong times 100%. And make them be scared, because again, like she is a murderer, and
you're not supposed to. But then you're not supposed to be into this. Just like you're not supposed to
make you feel bad for her. They did want you to be like,
of course.
That's the point. Like those last 3 episodes of like.
But that's Joe. It's Joe from all the women who were hype off of Joe from You. This is
that's I don't want to say like women being like I can fix him. Like
no, it's not that at all. But I'm more saying people get enamored with certain types of things, and I think it Swarm. Homegirl's supposed to be an anti-hero. They were modeling her after Tony Soprano and Don Draper. And like I tell people, I understand if you sympathize with Tony Soprano, he's not the hero of that story. There's no way he can. If you did there's a shouts to Analyzing Evil, shouts to the Vile Eye on YouTube. if you were to do have a real conversation on how evil Tony Soprano is, just based off of killing, being a mob boss, and what all that means, you're not supposed to like this person at all. I don't think you're supposed to you're not supposed to sympathize with Dre. You can get what's going on, but Dre's on another level. Yeah. Dre was born a certain way and it turned into something else. You're supposed to see how that happens in society, just like y'all love true crime and love all this other stuff. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, I understand if it feels a different way. I totally understand, especially with the person that Donald Glover is, but
yeah, a guy who he might be an asshole just in terms of like his creative
100%,
like of who he picks on and what he wants to portray on screen, even as himself. Like he had this idea of himself as, I don't want to say like he thought of himself as a rapper or because he was, but it's like he, when he came up with Atlanta, you thought maybe he would be the paperboy role when like you read it's like it's about rap in Atlanta. But then it's like, no, he probably wanted to say like what it's like to be a pawn in the music industry, like how tough it is to.
I guess the question is just if you think he's coming from a place of hate or not, realistically.
No. Yeah.
Because if you think, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off.
If he did come from, if a woman or someone in general wanted to make an argument that he was coming from a place of hate, I would hear them out and understand it. I'm open to all interpretations of like he is bullying or he is picking on women or this type of person in general, because again, a person who is so dedicated to somebody they don't even know, I would understand their argument. It's not a closed thing. It can be heard. Both sides can be heard and understood. But it was just one of those, like I said, like he wanted to create something that looked a certain way because the show was shot very well, cinematography wise and direction.
You're talking about Atlanta or Swarm?
Swarm. Right. Well, shot almost exactly like Atlanta, and like his style was able to be kind of emulated by a different directing crew. I mean, well, he set the tone like most first episode directors do. Of like, here's kind of the template you can follow. That's why that frying pan scene almost mimics the Damsel in Idris scene. It's like the camera doesn't move. You just watch someone get their head smashed in as like the camera just stays there. Which is almost better than actually getting into it, because it's like sometimes that can be harder and you gotta get like a prosthetic Damsel in Idris head that's all smashed to shit, or and when they come in and shoot that guy, like the stripper's like he's dead, like oh my god, what did you like? I recommend it. Check it out. Was it because the memes that I watched it, just like we'll get to the way you watch the next thing, it was square, right? It wasn't widescreen format.
No, I think that the aspect ratio is a little different.
I just wanted to be sure, because when I was watching, I'm like, I hope this is the right aspect ratio, because I'm like that again. They wanted to do the.
I'll say this
16:19 or
no, no. Good call. I will say this.
4:3 is box and 16:19.
Because I'm a pirate, like I have to know like aspect ratios. Like like standard 1080p is like 1920 by 1080 height. I think the aspect ratio on Swarm is like 1620 by 1080 or something like that. So the horizontal is a little truncated. It's a little more square. I'm assuming that was on purpose. I've not read anything specifically on that, but I'm going to assume that they did that for a specific reason.
Well, you said he was influenced by an Isabelle Huppert film. I don't know if that film was shot that way, but I bet
I'd have to see
much like certain creators is probably influenced by European cinema, and a lot of times that is shot with like kind of older traditional formats or unorthodox
100%
methods. The only thing this didn't have was like a black and white episode or something like that. Otherwise, I would have gone like full auteur, or like play within the realms. Because
I love it though. Again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off the camera for.
No, but this reminded me of that was the thing. Did you ever watch that movie Lucy in the Sky? Funny enough, which had Sassy Beats in a supporting role, because that movie is the movie starring Natalie Portman, in which she was portraying the fictional version of the astronaut that traveled all across the country.
I know. I saw that trailer. I did not. I remember it. She like passed out or whatever when she was in space or whatever.
And her character like becomes like almost lost when she goes to space. Like, so when she comes back to reality, it's like she can't recapture
She's like addicted to space. Essentially,
she can't reacclimate to society, is what it is. Like it's almost like, again, she becomes a stand for like being up there in the sky, but then she begins to fall in love with John Hamm's character, who,
of course,
what's John Hamm, so it makes sense. But she's married to Dan Stevens, so she cheats on her husband with John Hamm, and then John Hamm kind of stopped seeing her to be with Sussy Beats. And this is a story where the real life astronaut woman like traveled across the country, wore a diaper the whole time, had like this trunk full of mace and
wore a diaper
shit.
in space.
No, in a car ride, like the story. You don't remember that story? Where, like, this
I know the woman had. I know when she came back from space, there were like a number of things that were going on with that woman.
Yeah,
right?
no, her thing was like to track this couple down. Like they were in one state and she was in another, and she wore a diaper the entire car ride.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So she didn't have to take bathroom.
That's in
stops.
the movie.
They cut that out of the movie, and everyone was pissed.
I was going to say, like, that sounds crazy.
And Noah Hawley, who did Fargo on FX and Legion, he wrote and directed this movie. But the weirdest thing about this movie is that it shifts aspect ratio constantly throughout it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's almost visually impressive, but also like, what the fuck's going on? Like, do you because it almost seem like it's a transition, but then it'll just be. Like, it's almost like, the Hype Williams, it's kind of jarring it for a bit, yeah. Well, you know how it would close and then Director X did the opposite, like it would open or the opposite way. It'll close inward and then close vertically and horizontal, like at different times, and staying like that for 5 minutes, and then go back to like a regular widescreen, and then kind of go back into a small. It's fascinating to watch because it's a kind of a bad movie, but just to watch it as like a work of art, it'd be one of those things where like you can maybe watch this with the sound off and just see like what he was trying to go for visually.
Right.
But yeah, it reminded me a lot of it reminded me a lot of Lucy in the Sky. Funny enough, just like how I said the first episode, and then the rest of the series kind of did remind me of Copenhagen Cowboy, of like the depravity of killers, and like the what the fuckness of like certain writing, and like this is what you wanted to go for, except obviously this was more well written than Nicholas Winding Refn's Copenhagen Cowboy from earlier this year.
Oh, I mean, I will say because I've already seen Succession, I can't call it the best show of 2023, but in terms of writing and keeping you in a story, I think there's not many shows like The
Last
Swarm
of Us
right now.
Yeah,
The Last of Us is good as well. There's a couple of shows
that had a lot going for it with like familiar IP versus.
I was going to Last of Us. Yeah. The Last of Us just had to stick the landing. Yeah. Like they already had a great story right there. Just had to make sure they didn't fuck it up, which they didn't. They didn't at all.
Sticking the landing. Do you think John Wick 5 will stick the landing?
I'm gonna tell you like this, Trip, and I'm only gonna say this because I think I have to go see this movie again.
You do. So the means of which you watched this weren't the best.
All right,
first of all, going in like sometimes story doesn't matter. How's Keanu Reeves?
Wait, back it up.
That's what these movies were pitched at when that first trailer came out, and everyone's like,
facts.
Holy shit, this looks like Keanu Reeves is just going to shoot a bunch of people.
It was Steven Seagal, but 90s action, but better, right? But the problem was they made it about the dog. So like you
thought it was, and then it didn't even become about that until.
What I'm saying though, Drip, is the people who weren't going to watch that movie, they ended up being enamored with John Wick because of the dog.
Yep.
So at a certain point, you've got this guy who he longs for his relationship with his deceased woman.
Yep.
And the only thing that was keeping him hype was his fucking dog. It was Tom Brady's woman and his dog are gone. He's got nothing. He's the fucking Baba Yaga. Like he's the boogeyman.
You don't even know that when if you went into this movie if you went into this movie completely blind.
No, of course. But my thing
is, like the first 30 minutes, like, all right, this guy's got a dead wife. He's got a cool car. He's got this cute puppy, and then it's
Drip.
Like,
this is why we try and tell you to act a certain way in life, because you don't know what anybody's dealing with.
No, exactly. This is like, as someone said a few weeks ago, like this was the ultimate you don't know who you're messing with, but in the real fuck around and find out. but because I think someone had a tweet a few weeks ago, like, is John Wick's the hero? I mean, the villain of this series, y'all. Like, you should know that's like they came into his house
How's
and
he the
killed his
villain?
dog.
I'm confused.
Well, it's like he kept going maybe a little too far, I think is what their argument was of like, but don't forget, like, that's why number 2 works so well. It's like he said, like, I came in to get revenge for the car and the dog. Then this fucking Italian motherfucker shows up like, you owe me, John Wick. Like, you owe me, remember? Like, and then John Wick's like, shit, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And that guy fucks him over once he does the deal. He's like, well, John, I mean, this was always going to play out a certain way. And then he becomes, like, again, the unstoppable killing machine in the third one when it's like him versus the world, which is, again, a brilliant idea. But it's tricky when, like, in the grand scheme, when the second one ends and the third one starts, it makes me always wonder, like, so their version of New York City is half the population assassins? Because
literally, no, yeah, New York in the no, but this is the thing. Like, once you get through the second film, once you get to the end of the second film,
which is one of the best endings of all time,
you have to realize this is a new universe. This
isn't real New York.
That guy who was on the train you thought was kind of hot, it was kind of built and had like a nice suit. Yeah, he got a fucking gun, he got a knife, and
or
a couple
this woman
of
who looks like a teacher is probably one. Again, because
they're ready to murk everybody.
The whole point of the homeless sect is like,
I love
the homeless. It's like the homeless people aren't even the homeless people; they're assassins. And I mean,
the unhoused people being killers and everything is always a funny thing to me. But that's just because of how the internet is today. I saw a post on Complex. They were talking about, they quoted someone on TikTok and they said that somebody unalived themselves, but they made it look like somebody self-unalived themselves. I'm like, God, you can't say suicide. You can't say kill yourself. Like, you can't see unalived and self-unalived. I was like, are you? I had to take
Dane
2
Cook
seconds.
Once had a joke of like, I won't, like, he's like, I won't, I don't want people to say I killed myself. I'll write a note that says I chose to assassinate myself. He said something
good.
like, he's like something like that. But then he was also like, he's like, a suicide. He's like, and I was writing a note and I kept writing it. And he's like, this, I wasn't going to do it, but I just kept writing it. Then I realized, like, a suicide note in which someone doesn't actually commit suicide at the end is just a memoir.
Really? You're just writing a book at this point. Wait, are you a fan of Dane Cook, Drip?
I was, yeah. Growing up, I was, yeah.
I was. I probably around the same time you were. I did listen to a lot of Dane Cook.
Wow, I would not have expected that. A brother in arms, me, and
Beys. It was. There were a couple of.
He had Retaliation. That was good.
Which one was? There was one. What was the? There was one where there was like a Burger King joke that he had on there.
Yeah, the BK Lounge. Yeah,
the BK Lounge. Yeah, like whatever that album. The 2 CD album was good.
There's the one with the. I think the Burger King one is like I would hate because I'd have to work the drive-thru. I'd hate the drive-thru, and people would either whisper too low or they would scream too loud, like Whopper, Whopper.
He said, "This is my life,"
and then like he's like,
I've been here.
And sometimes I get weird people like pickles. And he's like, what? Like, but yeah, no, because my mom liked Dane Cook. I think she was also kind of attracted to him in the like mid 2000s way of like,
no, that makes sense. Yeah,
a white guy with the bad jeans and the bad t-shirt and the way my hair looked at certain times in glides this week of like,
no, he was the poster child for that time frame. Yeah, he was the Eddie Murphy for white people at that time. 100%.
But unfortunately, Dane Cook isn't a good topic these days, given how he started dating a woman when she was 19 and he was
dating fucking 40. Children at this point. Yeah.
And his whole thing was like, she was very mature for her age. Like, sure, buddy. Yeah, I mean, that's what they all say, right?
Shouts to Drip for knowing that stuff, because only so many people really keep up with that stuff, and I'm glad that you're aware.
I was a fan, and that was the thing. I was like, I love listening to those old stand-ups, like you said. Like, he had Isolated Incident, he had Vicious Circle. It's like I would run back these stand-ups, and it'd be great. And then like it's like, again, he was a guy who tried to transition from stand-up to movies. He had 3 movies that tanked, but he was trying to be, a next Jerry Seinfeld in a way, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, it's like, what was Dane Cook up to these days? It's like, oh, he's dating an underage woman. I'm like, oh, I'm not following you anymore, I guess. But yeah, so John Wick 4. So I rewatched all 4 of the. I mean, when I rewatched the previous 3 and prep for this, and to me, they're all very solid 4 out of 5s. I've realized,
Yeah,
because the first one is so basic in the best way. I said this, like Chad Stahelski and David Leitch learned all the lessons from those 90s and 2000s movies they worked on, because they were the story of why they made this movie is like they felt like action was getting worse and worse, and they wanted to be the guys to correct it, to fix it. They were former stuntmen who then became stunt coordinators and then became second unit directors, and they thought, we can make a movie and we can make an action movie how it should be done. Properly train these actors, properly film these fight scenes, and choreograph them in these car stunts and these gunfights and this and that. And you can tell, again, the studio kind of believed in it, but also gave them no money for John Wick 1.
It was very much a under budgeted film for what they were trying to do. Yeah,
but then it's very like, it's still kind of in the vein of like 2000s with like its music choices at times and like the kind of the vibe it's trying to capture. But it had a star. It had Keanu Reeves, and it's got a great supporting cast of Ian McShane and then Lance Reddick. Willem Dafoe's in the first one. The late Michael
that's right. He was the cop.
No, he's his friend. He's another assassin. He was his friend.
Oh, but he was corrupt or whatever.
No, they wanted him to take John Wick out, and he was too loyal. He then gets
either way. He got murked. I remember he got murked. I love seeing that. Him.
Yeah. The late Michael Nyqvist. He was great as this over the top villain. And his son was the guy who played Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones, and a great like asshole son who again thinks he's the heir to the throne until his dad's like, see, this is why you're a fuck up. Like, because you do John Leguizamo,
right?
Isn't it just to chew the scenery a bit? But it's not.
The John Leguizamo bit is good too. I like that. He was like,
yeah, whose car did you steal? Yeah,
what the fuck? Like, yeah, no, that's when you knew it was serious.
Yeah, and then it's like, why is everyone talking like this? And then when you realize that this guy fucking keeps guns inside, not like inside the house, like inside, like buried in this guy's house.
When he started fucking banging the floor, I'm like, oh shit, it's a problem.
And then
somebody's getting fucked up.
Then he has the tattoos of a guy who's like patched in. It's like, you don't fuck with guys who have tattoos in Latin.
So
with,
good.
Like, prayer hands a certain way and rosaries this way.
So good. I love it.
And when they show up to his house, it's like, oh, this is this guy in action. No wonder, like, because you just hear like that's like, we'd send him to kill the boogeyman.
Right.
That's why we call him the boogeyman.
That's why he's the boogeyman. Yeah.
And then you could, again, that was a success. I didn't see the first John Wick in the theater, but I saw it was available to me when I could.
I think I only saw the third one in theaters.
But I was hyped when I saw the trailer. I'm like, this is going to be good. And then when John Wick Chapter 2 came out, I was going to movies very frequently then, as we discussed on Movies Film Cinema, because I went to the theater to see that because I had been so hyped, and they, amped up the budget, amped up the action. Common's good in it, which is, because they were like, Chad Stahelski, you can do this. Like, here's some more money. And like,
that's all you need. Prove it.
Would you like to go to Italy? Because it's like they go to Italy and like
prove it.
Yeah. Common's able to hang against Keanu Reeves, because that's the thing. Like, Keanu Reeves does like all these stunts pretty much because he's trained in jiu-jitsu.
Common did his thing. Common did his thing for the most part.
In the action part, because Common's still not a strong actor, but he's good as like a guy like who looks good fighting against Keanu Reeves. Like,
exactly.
They seem like it's like the right pair. But then Lawrence Fishburne shows up because they're all buddies from the Matrix days, and he just like he performs as the Bowery King. I love it. I love when people overact because they know they're so good
for no reason. It's just like,
he's like, it's like, get this man a gun. He's just like, you tell them, Larry. I mean, Lawrence.
He's ready.
It's like
Larry. I mean, Lawrence is funny. Don't let him hear you say that.
Oh, I know. He's like, what motherfucker?
Little white mother. I'm sorry.
Because it's like he's like, we had an encounter a few years ago, like, but you let me live and I became the king, and all. He's like, and he's obsessed with like the pigeons and like
the king of the pigeon people.
Yeah. But the best is like 7 bullets, $7 million, $1 million around. It's like, God damn, Lawrence, chill out. Like, because we all know Keanu Reeves isn't the best actor of his. Whoa, Or
that's all you need, though. And they did that for this fourth film, right?
They've done it for every film where like he delivers lines when he asks you like I'm thinking I'm back, or like he plays. He's again like he's the guy who would have been good 80 years ago in the silent era, or like the star of like the spaghetti westerns with his stoicism and his look and his grumbling of like he could have been John Wayne and Clint Eastwood.
Hell yeah.
But again, he's good obviously as Ted because he plays Spacey guy pretty well, unfortunately, which is the thing where like is that a thing in reality? But it's like it didn't help. Well, when I didn't take an acting class on purpose, but in high school I was in an acting class, and my teacher was like, Keanu Reeves is a bad actor, but Keanu Reeves looks like a worse actor when he tried to do Shakespeare, because it's like a guy like Keanu Reeves can't pull off Shakespeare.
Don't even bother, yeah.
Well, like he's in the same film as Denzel, and it's like Denzel like studied that way. It's like Keanu Reeves studied to be a movie star, basically.
He studied to be Keanu.
But the thing was about John Wick Chapter 2 is like it's one of the best sequels. Again, it's one of those ones that's better than the original.
Indeed.
But it's one of those, when watching it back, it's one of those moments where like, oh yeah, like they thought Ruby Rose was going to be the other Ruby Rose, not the
shouts to Ruby Rose. But you can see like it was by the time the second film came out.
Yeah, like
100%. But it was like we're going to start adding these people who we think are hot. Like they were trying to make. I mean, hell, Ana de Armas is supposed to be in Ballerina. Like they're trying to build
still on
stars.
That wave of like, well, she was in the Grayman Khal. Let's not forget that she's.
I'm just saying they're smart about trying to make stars out of these people that are going to be in these movies. So Ruby Rose, she was supposed to be the next one, the next femme fatale. She had the look. No,
she had that look in the way where like Hollywood's like, this is what we want right now. A woman that looks like Justin Bieber, but she's a woman. It was that thing like they were into, and I'm not even trying to pick on that. Would be like Hollywood got like in love with actors that had like an aesthetic.
No, you're right. You're right. 100%. That's funny though.
Whether they had the talent to back it or not, it's like you can see like like I said that for years, like Hollywood tried to make Austin Butler something before he ever could be something, and all he had to do was play Elvis, and Hollywood's like, here is our next chosen one. It's like, no, you try to put this guy in TV shows for years and years, and it's like he wasn't that guy, but then he does an impression. You're like, what an actor!
Man, look, I'm team Vanessa Hudgens and all that stuff, so you can't tell me.
Yeah, because she was like, you should be Elvis, and then in that interview, he's like, a good friend told me, one day maybe you should play Elvis, and he was like,
fake ass, punk. That's
a pretty good idea. I think.
Ain't he like Australian or some shit? Like,
no, he's from, as Banks would say, he's from his city. He's from Anaheim or whatever. He's from.
Jesus, really? Why has he got that accent? He looked weird.
Because he said because there's all those stories like he said my vocal cords are shot because I tried to be Elvis so much I don't know how to shake him.
That guy sucks.
But anyway. But yeah, so Lawrence Fishburne shows up in 2 because that's it. These movies will then like up the supporting cast as well. Like they already had Lance Reddick and Ian McShane in the first one, being like, damn, what are they doing in this movie? It's like, well, Ian McShane again, like classically trained actor, great in everything, and his role gets better as it goes. But in the third one, they get like Angelica Houston shows up.
She did, yeah,
and she's phenomenal as basically the mother figure to John Wick. She's like, Jordani, look at you.
When she hit his whole name, because like his name is John Wick, but she hit you with the whole name. I'm like, oh shit, it was deep. But that's what
I can help you. Like, no, I can't.
I love Story.
She's basically a female Dracula. Like her.
I love Story, but the idea of
let's talk about it after you give your point.
Well, I was gonna say like the idea of because we're 4 movies in, like the slow drip of backstory on this is cool to me. I don't know if it worked as much in the 4th film as it has with the previous 3, but I like being in like the first Deadpool movie. I like getting into the action while I'm also learning about why the fuck they're going crazy right now anyway. But Drip don't seem like he's into that.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the problem with franchise continuations as a whole. I talked about this when we talked about the Fast X trailer with Banks, is that like when you have to retcon stuff you did out of order, and then try to connect it to like time and actuality. Because when you try to do a movie every 2 years, you try to make it 2 years in that film sometimes, unless it's like John Wick 2 to 3, where it's like it's an hour. An hour has happened in between 2 years of movie making. It's like, but with John Wick 1 being his wife dies, he gets a new dog, and then over the course of maybe 2-3 days,
it's not that long. Yeah,
he wipes out the family he used to work for, because chapter 2 opens with him trying to get the car back. It's like, is this in the same week? Is this maybe a few weeks? Because they say in chapter 3, when Asia Kate Dillon's character shows up, when she's like, the last few weeks he's killed scores of men to get back a car and to avenge a dog. So it's like, okay, I can believe this has maybe been 2 or 3 weeks, because don't forget, he had to go to Italy. Even though it doesn't take days to get to Italy, but like Santino shows up, it's like, you owe me John Wick.
No, yeah. If you told me this was all in the span of a couple of months, like these 4 films were in the span of.
I think the first 3 is a month, if at the most.
That makes sense.
2 weeks, to be honest. And then the 4th one, I wouldn't be surprised if
the 3rd one as well. Yeah, because the 3rd one pretty much picks up right after the 2nd one, huh?
It's directly after, more so
right
than the
after
first.
the 2nd one.
Then the 2nd to the 1st, which is a tricky part. But in the 1st, it doesn't explain anything, even though Michael Nyquist is like, he worked for us. He was our best killer. He left because he fell in love. We let him go because he had to do this impossible task. And that seemed like he had to wipe out an entire family or whatever to get this mission done. Which rears its head in part 2, which like, that's how he owes him this marker. But like, when he kills the guys that come to his house on the wrong day, like he pays the cleaning service with a coin. He shows up to the Continental. It's like, this is the hotel for assassins, but you can't kill because they don't allow killings in this hotel. It builds up a world of like, okay, these assassins are like colleagues, but also enemies at the same time. Anyone can go after the other, but they at times have worked together, or they're friends.
I'm glad you bring up the Continental, because the one, I guess one of the most striking things about the 4th film, fairly early into the film, the fucking Continental gets blown up.
Yeah, which is just like,
they blew it all the way up. It's a controlled demolition because the area surrounding it was fine. Like, you get to see
the
later
building
on,
doesn't even collapse. It's just like,
it's just still standing there with police tape around. What the fuck?
Well, I also think there was a reason for that, because when they blew up initially, I'm like, this is kind of weird to blow up a building in New York. I know superhero movies do this all the time, but I'm still
in the middle of a block, though. Yeah,
but I'm like, this franchise is kind of more real world oriented than like the Avengers, in which they build a new fucking and again, Spider-Man No Way Home, they build the Statue of Liberty with Captain America's shield. So like, I expect that movie to be comic booky and cartoony, but this, when Bill Skarsgård, all right, so we're jumping all over the place, but you said your audio was bad when you were watching the movie, but were you able to hear Bill Skarsgård's French accent when he was like, John Wick, you are a man, very much a killer at the same time. And I'm just like, why did they not just want to cast a French actor? Because I like Bill Skarsgård. But as you said earlier, Bill Skarsgård is the son of Stellan Skarsgård, the brother of Alexander Skarsgård. Like, he is a Swedish man. And I guess maybe, that region of the world is close connected. But when he was like, I am Marquis de... Because he plays like a Marquis de Gramont. It's just like, he's overacting, just like in the 3rd one. Jerome Flynn is overacting when they're in Casablanca with like, this dog, I will take it from you because you owe me. It's like the villains in these films all have bad accents.
I think they're a little,
except Michael Nyquist, because he was genuinely like Eastern European.
But I think that's the thing, though. It's like it's a little too
cartoony.
Cartoony. It's a little too on the nose of what you know from these.
Well, the Italian guy is Italian, so that works too. But again, he plays like evil Italian villain so well, especially at the end when he's like, "Look at this menu. A man could stay here and never eat the same thing twice." And then John Wick's just like, "You're fucking dead now because you're an asshole." Like
when fucking Pennywise, that was Pennywise, right?
Yeah.
When Pennywise showed up on that screen,
Barbarian. It's the guy in Barbarian.
I was out of it. Who's my man? The Asian dude that was in the beginning. He was fucking is he Sub-Zero or he's Scorpion?
Oh, Hiroyuki Sanada. Yeah.
He's fucking fire.
Yeah.
He's always fire.
Disappointed by is that even though I kind of expect to happen a little bit, but I wish we had more Sonata versus Yen, because the interaction they have, I'm like, give me this fucking movie. I'm like, when I don't want to say it's very anime because it's stereotypical and kind of racist, like, because again, they're two Asian men, but when they're like,
but
we used to be friends, brother. Been a long time. Like it's like, oh my god, this story sounds so good. Of like
a lot of that, it felt like that though.
One's like, how's your daughter? He's like, well, I have my daughter still in a way. Like, damn, like you ain't gotta cut the man that deep yet. He can't see. It's bad enough he'd be like, at least I got my daughter.
So my man can't see.
They took his eyes, is what he said he gave him up as like
he gave up his eyes
to keep his daughter safe. Yeah. So
but
it seems like much like how Halle Berry did something where like she had to send her daughter away, which is how she owed John Wick a marker.
Yeah, being a part of the family or whatever. But
again, that's we're jumping off. It's like, oh, that's why I get mad at with the story. Really, to be honest, that's so much.
The story is the worst part of this film, to be honest with you. But keep going.
Of the last
of all the films, yeah.
Well, no, because the first one, it's like we said, it's a Steven Seagal film, but
very
done
basic,
the best way. No, the best way. Like this is like if someone like Denis Villeneuve or whoever did like a Steven Seagal film, like it would be this. If they cared to make the action look clean and still and not chaotic and messy, right, and this and all that. And the second one, they introduced the marker, so like, oh, this is some more lore to it. Like, all right, that's not going too far. And like the head of the table, and this guy's one of the heads of the table. He wants to be, but his sister is the one now, taking the spot on throne. And these are the people who oversee the Continental, who oversee the hitman, and at the end he's excommunicado, which means he can't have access to anything again, which is clever. Like, so a hitman with no help, so again, he's just
no assistance at all. Yeah,
a nomad, a Ronin, basically. And then the third one, it's like, and I knew the third one was bad story wise when I was watching it, but at the end I knew it for sure when it said screenplay by 4 writers, and I'm like, there we go, because one came in to introduce this, one came in to add that, one came in to do this, because originally Dark Holstead wrote the first 2 just solely by himself. In the third one, he's one of the 4 screenwriters. He's not the screenwriter for the 4th one at all. He just has characters created by, so he has basically abandoned the franchise. But the guy that's kind of took it away from him is this dude Shay Hatton, who was one of the 4 screenwriters in the third one, and is the co-screenwriter for this, because there are 2 screenwriters. One guy who's kind of unknown, and Shay Hatton is the other one. And
I mean, has that really destroyed the franchise, though?
Well, okay, so how do I know Shane Hatton wrote these last 2 films besides seeing it on paper?
Right.
Well, in the third one, Halle Berry shows up, and she has 2 dogs as sidekicks. And in this movie, Shamir Anderson, who's fucking amazing in it,
he's really good.
Has a dog sidekick, and I'm like,
early.
I wonder who wrote this in that movie and in this movie, because it makes sense that one guy's like, because his own takeaway was, well, this franchise started about John Wick and a dog, so what if like John Wick had someone like a friend who had, or a rival that also cared about dogs a lot? That's probably what his thinking was. Like, we gotta get, because like John Wick doesn't take his dog on the adventure because he's fucking smart.
But when I first saw the black guy with the dog, I'm like, oh shit, they're replacing John Wick. Like, that was my immediate thought.
Yeah.
Especially because
I think they still can. I would watch a movie about but what I hated, they don't care about this guy because they just give him Mr. Nobody.
He's barely in the movie. Like, relatively speaking, he's barely in the movie.
No, he's in a good amount of it.
Dog. There's times where
for someone you don't think would be in it a lot, he is in it a lot. But like,
and
that's why like.
Well, compared to what though? Like the blind man and Bill Skarsgård got more time than the guy with.
Point. Well, that's all right. I think Chad Stahelski started to care about performance, especially by actors, a lot more as the franchise has gone, because each time he's stepped it up with the increase in budget in terms of like how his set pieces should be, and he's also evolved as a filmmaker as well.
Right.
So I think once he got like Bill Skarsgård attached, he's like, I want to let this guy, eat a little bit. I want to have him
do some shit. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's like I want to have him and McShane go at it toe to toe in a couple scenes. Or
that makes sense. I totally understand.
But no, like with Shamir Anderson to be in this movie for I'd say maybe 40, 50 minutes of it and be just Mr. Nobody, which I think is also a shot at Derek Kolstad, who wrote Mr. Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk movie, which was supposed to be regular guy is John Wick.
That movie was hard though, low key.
It was all right. I thought it was okay.
Damn.
It wasn't. It's better than some action movies, but it wasn't as good as these, obviously.
No, it wasn't. No, I'll say it was not a John Wick, but I do
it
think that
tried
shit
to
was
do
hard.
it tried to do its world building, and I'm like, what do you say?
There's a
He was
sequel
like,
coming, though.
they teased like there was, but I'm still not sure. I mean, I
Let's
imagine
see.
there could be, given that Bob Odenkirk has a new AMC series, but it's not Better Call Saul, so it's
Lucky Hank, I believe. Nobody
yeah.
2. December last year, he said Bob Odenkirk said that the sequel is aiming to film next year. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be a Nobody 2 coming out. Maybe,
which I would just hope, because like the RZA's not even
next
in
year.
Nobody.
Right. It was a good I think. I mean, I will say when I saw Nobody, I'm like, damn, Keanu really opened the door for these old white people, because everybody's going to be able to do some type of spin on that.
Well, actually, it was Liam Neeson first.
But he's old. Like
you want to have the age brackets of 40 to 50. 50
what
to
I'm
60?
saying is, like, for all right,
you want to treat it like boxing weight divisions, like the star of the
no, Drip. I'm gonna tell you the scale you need to be worrying about. The next woman you're trying to sleep with, is she looking at Keanu Reeves as an uncle or as a grandfather? Because Keanu Reeves is kind of like an oldish uncle. Like your cousin may try and fuck Keanu Reeves just because of who he is. They're not trying to fuck some of these other people. You feel what I'm saying? Like at
trying to fuck Bob Odenkirk. Yeah,
I'm at a certain point. You've aged out of fuckability, and Keanu Reeves has got that. Bob Odenkirk and them is going to be dope, and you can eat off of the formula.
Well, the appeal of Bob Odenkirk doing it was like, what if a real average-looking guy was like,
what if your dad went out there and was John Wick? That's the movie.
And Big Mike is nobody. Like,
it's literally the movie. It's not
the
great,
guy who has to
but
take out the trash and forgets.
But what I'm saying is it's opened the door for the future. Whether it's in addition to the John Wick franchise or just the idea of your father going out there and fucking people up, like it, people want to see it. Apparently,
yeah. Well, I mean,
Nobody 2's coming.
Yeah, and that's I think that is a Universal film. Again, they're trying to have multiple franchises going, whereas this is Lionsgate, and this is kind of one of the big things that Lionsgate still has these days, because they had the Hunger Games that ended, but they're redoing that with the Hunger Games prequels.
They said that
they're doing Ballerina, which is going to be written by Shane Hatton, co-written by Shane Hatton. So I'm like, is Ana de Armas going to have a dog sidekick too? Because I'd expect that at this point, because it's like, it seems like his go-to, like, what a John Wick movie or a movie in this universe is a hero with a dog sidekick.
Well, let me say this, Strip. As of right now, they're saying a $70 million opening for John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah, the screening I saw, which was 11 in the morning my time, had a lot of people in it. It wasn't fully full, but it had a lot of people in it.
It's Lionsgate's best in the pandemic. And that's just as of Saturday when we're recording it. Those numbers could fluctuate, but Shazam ain't beating the shit.
Well, I was shocked to find out that Shazam is co-written by Chris Morgan, who, according to one article or one press release, was described as the narrative architect of the Fast and Furious franchise, because Chris Morgan wrote Tokyo Drift through Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh shit! I mean, hey, maybe
I had no idea he co-wrote Shazam, but I'm like, shouldn't he have co-wrote fucking Black Adam, given what was going on? Like,
you would think, right? The Rock ain't trying to seek out. Maybe he wasn't available. Maybe
no, because he's writing this Red One movie for the Rock that he's someone with Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons. So it's like he was in the camp. He's in the $7 camp.
Who knows? Something had to. If he wasn't answering the Rock's calls earlier, something happened.
But you got to watch this movie, like I said, your way, where I felt all 3 hours when I was in the theater.
God, we haven't talked. It was
that
fun.
was its biggest problem, because everything, like the action again was great. There's this great oneer in which like the crane camera is used to go through the building they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very like video game-esque, where like he has this gun that shoots fire too, like these fire bullets. That's amazing. But that whole sequence was amazing. I'm like, all right, Chad Stahelski spends all this time on these amazing set pieces. Famously, the Halle Berry scene in Casablanca with the two dogs took a month to shoot, right, or something like that.
It was a minute. Yeah, it was a minute.
Which made sense because I'm like, this is like the least set piece I like in this movie. In which the third one has two of the best sequences ever, which is John Wick on the horse, and then John Wick on the motorcycle fighting the guys on the motorcycle. I'm like, this is better than the dog stuff
and everything else. Yeah,
like, but in this, there's a little bit of horse action, which I'm like, we need some more. They do the Lawrence of Arabia homage,
early.
Like, which I'm like, I haven't seen Lawrence of Arabia, but I know and then it's the sunrise is like so I'm like, oh, Chad Stahelski's like, I'm gonna
doing that shit. Yeah, I'm doing that shit right now.
You know, I'm like, bravo. But and he kills these guys on the horse. Then he kills the Elder, which I'm like, again, they don't even try to bother and cast an old person, which
they just said fuck that.
Well, that guy dropped, like, didn't want to come back or whatever, so they recasted the actor. The whole concept of the Elder is the stupidest thing in the franchise. That's what pissed me off the most about 3. Was like he has to go to the Elder and seek forgiveness, a mission to be accepted back into the High Tables lifestyle. And it's like, again, I'm like, can't you cast an old man to be the Elder? Like that would make way more sense than like a man who's probably younger than Keanu Reeves.
It would make sense, but they don't make sense.
But then all the stuff in Japan is amazing. Like you said, they get Hiroyuki Sanada to show up. The stuff.
Although me holding a sword up like this, I don't know how that like gun fu is crazy because like they'd be right here, pa 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 pa, ping 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 ping.
I don't think I thought when we watched that trailer, I'm like, holy shit, they're deflecting close.
They're just missing shots that close.
I think they're missing. Yeah. But
every pa 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 pa, it's always like 4 or 5 shots, and he just miss them all.
Yeah, I think he's deflecting, like pushing the sword away, like the swords on the barrel of the gun, like pushing it. Maybe
it looks so, in a world where they're fighting with swords, nunchucks, punching.
Yeah, when he's just like no one has done more for nunchucks since Michelangelo than John.
Gunfire is just like another thing. Like me holding a gun and shooting it, unless I have terrible aim, should be the deal maker.
Well, even John Wick has terrible aim sometimes. He's not one shot kill shot. Like when he's on the he's on the horse. It's like he's not hitting these 3 men until he gets kind of close to them. But I'm like, I get it. You're on a fucking horse.
They did a duel at the end of the movie.
I want to save that for last. But when Donnie Yen shows up and like it's like, oh, that's brilliant. Like the ring technology of like someone walks by, it sets it up. I'm like, because every time I watch Daredevil, the movie or the show, I'm like, yeah, again, at the end of the day, this is a comic book character. So like, and this, him having the sonar in his head or whatever.
You gotta take those liberties,
yeah. It's still cool to see, but like Chad Stahelski's like, what's a really practical way to make this guy a badass assassin, but he's blind for real? And it's like, oh, he's constantly feeling around where he is, and he sets up these indicators to like trace people walking by, and then
that shit didn't make no sense.
But then he still knows how to fucking shoot dudes and stab them to death.
Exactly,
like,
it didn't make sense.
Him and Hiroyuki Sanada have this great sword fight, which I'm like, give me more of that. If you're gonna make this movie 2 hours and 50 minutes, can you tack on 5 extra minutes of that? Can you take away 10 minutes of the Scott Adkins in the fat suit? Because I didn't need that. Like, I need
just Scott for him Adkins to get fucked up anyway. Like after a while.
Well, not even know. It's like he kicks John Wick's ass, and I'm like, I'm like, did Scott Adkins was his bit like, yeah, I want to be in these movies because he's like, Keanu Reeves.
I want to be in those movies, but what the fuck? Like, what are we doing?
Like, over the course of the franchise, it's like they went and got Mark Dacascos for the last film. They got the 2 guys from the Raid franchise to be his associates. They upped the ante in terms of like, martial arts stars, and Scott Adkins is like king of the VOD action film.
They know what they're doing. I get that.
No, but they're like, Scott, put on this fat suit.
Yeah, exactly.
And be the German kingpin.
I don't get
again,
it.
Like to make it Daredevil, it's like you got to be the kingpin, but you're German because he's like, yeah. And I'm like,
I didn't get any of that.
Takes too long. Where I'm like, give me more of the fucking Hiroyuki Sanada stuff. Him and
just
his
be the Penguin, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
No, because not even Colin Farrell's Penguin doesn't kick ass. He's got like he has a limp.
As of now, as of the 20 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever we saw him in the movie.
think in the Penguin show he'll be like Tony Soprano, like fucking dudes up with phones and
Tony
shit?
Soprano, but he's got to
just
do
like Tony Soprano, as we
he's got to do some type of powerful, forceful shit. Like at a certain point,
we'll see.
I can't. You mean it? Even Tony Soprano beat somebody. He's the boss of the family.
Well,
How
I've
many
seen the clips of this clips? There's 2 or 3 seasons of The Sopranos I watch. I know that Tony Soprano like chokes a man to death with a phone cord and all that. Like
he's got a lot for somebody to be the boss of the family. Tony's got a lot of bodies on him at the end of that show.
Yeah, because he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty as the boss should, which is the whole point of like the Bill Skarsgård character, is that like he's the prick who wants to be in charge, but isn't going to shoot the guy until he's already on the ground.
Yeah, Bill Skarsgård sucked. I didn't like that character.
No, I thought the character was weak, but I thought
he was good as the character.
His
but
performance
I didn't like the
was great because he was like, when I met, you have 2 options. You can either pull your hand from the knife, or your knife from the knife from the hand. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's always some white guy that's got to be like the fucking supreme
because the white guys are the
villains.
Shit. And thanks to Rudy Gobert, in history, we already have disdain for the French, so it's like, we were already going to root for John Wick to kill the Frenchman, so like it made sense. But again, like I agree that ending it with just like a straight up duel is just kind of like, okay, I guess
that shit was. I was not into,
especially like he gets
30
all
paces. We're gonna shoot, and then he hit me in the shoulder. All right, let's walk another 10 paces to the next tile. Like that, it seems so like weird and out of place to me. I don't know.
Not as weird and out of place as him going all the way up the steps just to get knocked back down like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Well, actually, you know what? It was worse because at
that
this
was one
point,
of those times where I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here?
And then the means I had to watch the film, I had no audio at this point. It was just so there was no talk. Even if they were talking, it was just like and then they just shot each other again. But who directed this film?
Chad Stahelski's directed. These are the only films he's directed.
The shots where it was like all green.
Yeah.
Like the shots where they're in the club and like people are fighting or people are dancing while they're fighting.
Yeah, he loves the neon colors. He loves the rain.
The art of violence in this film. Yeah. Like you mentioned,
even though he took out the axe throw, like the axe throw in the club in the trailer isn't in the film.
It's not in the film.
He just tomahawks this dude too, like. And again, I'm like in this 20-minute scene in this club, you're not going to give me a scene I liked the most from the trailer? I got to get these guys playing cards?
Yeah, what is this, Marvel? There was one thing, I think you mentioned it offline. You mentioned kind of like the art of violence, like the just like the way they make violence. It's so beautiful. I can watch a John Wick like 40-person fight scene over and over because they're not going to make it 2 minutes. I think that's the one thing about this film is it's almost 3 hours.
And that's the thing where it's like this drags, but then when you rewatch them, you can either kind of get lost.
It's all like the longest parts are just fight scenes.
Yeah, but it's also like when you rewatch, like, oh, I didn't see that the first time.
Right.
This is because
there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there.
Doing jujitsu takedowns just to fucking double tap a dude in the head, and then like
I will say though, because of that, like that type of stuff, the fighting is slower in these films. Like. It takes a while for John Wick to actually put somebody down because either they have fucking the 5-star SWAT team armor on, or it's just I'm gonna hit you with a shining wizard.
The fucking Marquis de Garmonc security team is like an NFL defensive line. It's like these that
big and John Wick's just
it's like the daughter, the concierge for the Osaka Continental.
Oh, for the other one, yeah.
She takes 5 minutes to kill this dude who's like, again, the fucking nose tackle, but she's like stabbing him to death as he's crawling up these stairs. It's like,
fucking Braun Breaker was in there, yeah.
Yeah, well, Braun Breaker is Bill Skarsgård henchman, basically. That motherfucker's tough.
That's a whole Braun Breaker for real.
But even then, like, when I'm like, how do they up the, like, they do it again, like, either with these great tracking shots and long takes, or they're like, let's have a fight scene in the middle of traffic. I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. And it works.
Very smart. It's very
on the cobblestones of France.
The one thing that I can't fault, like anything that involves action or fighting or shooting people, John Wick gets it right every time. Everything else,
story just gets messy. It just becomes redundant with the high table. Serve the high table. The
table,
yell. Now the Marquis de Gramont has like given full range to do whatever he wants. It's like when again it was already simple in the second with like a marker. These coins have one coin means everything.
Right.
Like no one gets paid in double coins.
No, you get paid in one coin for what you did.
Except the cleaner. Like he gives him a ton of coins in the first one, but like one coin is still better than no coin in this world.
You need a coin. You need some coin.
But the marker is like a good way of like
you
really owe me. This is like a real like you do someone a favor, they got to owe you for life for real.
A favor for a favor. No, you're right about that.
And again, blood in, blood out. Like
exactly. Exactly.
But then again, the stuff with like the high table, like we never even. But it's like it's the Russian family which he belongs to. That story again, more of his origin story is what made Chapter 3 so good. Like I said, I loved the stuff of Angelica Houston walking him through the her like theater / training center where like they do ballet and these kids are taught sambo as they just slam each other on these mats.
I was so intrigued when she walked him through there.
She's like, do you remember like fond memories of like him having again? That's probably became so good like fucking arm drags and takedowns. Yeah. It's like because he picks fucking Scott Adkins up for a double leg and like slams him down. It's like
But that's the kind of shit I hope is picked up on in the ballerina series where we get to see some of this origin story. Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is that the ballerina that's doing the routine for Angelica Houston and Chapter 3 has been recast to be Ana de Armas. That was a real trained ballerina in that scene.
Right. I didn't realize it was supposed to be her that was going to be.
Neither did I. I just read on that. I just read up on that today. Is that the character of Rooney, who she just says Rooney, and she stops dancing. That woman will now be portrayed by Ana de Armas to make it within the realms because there is a moment for some reason. I think it's just a thing where like this life is so tough. Where her and John Wick stare at each other as they walk by.
It's brief, it's really brief.
Where like John Wick knows like being in this family is tough.
They share a moment, yeah.
And the moment where he has to go, when he gets branded, and again they go through the ceremony of again so he can become part of that Belarus tribe, the Russian. Again, it was enjoyable. Again, just to think like there's some stuff we could have cut out to shave this down a bit. Not too much of a chewing the scenery or but again, the Shamir Anderson stuff I love the most. And if they were like, we're gonna do a series about the tracker or a movie about the tracker, I'd be a little bit into that. Just like if they were able to cast someone young to be
he survived the end of this film, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. As long as he makes it to the end, anything could happen.
Or he because again, this is spoiler, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They make it seem like John Wick's dead, but John Wick's not dead.
There's a whole tombstone for him,
but he's not dead.
Yeah,
because
you see him
announced John Wick Chapter 5 when they were making 4. They're like John Wick Chapter 5 most likely will be the end, unless that's on pause. And Chad Stahelski, maybe that's why Chad Stahelski made. I mean, but it's like are they going to do that? Because there is a post-credit scene at the end of this film. Did you see that?
Yeah, but it was real brief. It was just homegirl with the knife seeing homegirl boy in the field, right?
I'm like, is that enough to make a story for 5? Or because I don't want him to continue fighting the tables. I
felt like I honestly felt that post-credit scene was kind of like for this film, like
she said it's either gonna be you or him,
and you got to see that she after because homeboy made it at the end, but you got to see that. She's still on his ass. I'm going to assume that if there is a 5, when there's a 5, you may hear that homeboy's dead or he's going to die in 5. But I think it could have been worse. It could have been way worse in terms of the bridge to the next films. But realistically, like the at the end of 3, if I'm not mistaken, John Wick fell off the top of the Continental, and then the homeless man picked him up.
Yeah,
and brought him to the underground. Like I thought this film was going to be like Rocky IV with the training sequence and all this shit. Nah, he good at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, it's like time has passed and he's healthy again.
There's barely. I thought Lawrence Fishburne was going to be a thing in this film. He's barely in the film like that.
Yeah, but again, he shows up to be Lawrence Fishburne, and I love it.
He does his thing. And I think the opening where he's just bellowing out while he's walking into the room is
which
great.
is a very again writer writing for the man just walks through the subway.
Of course, yeah.
Speaking to no one but the dog he's walking, and really he's speaking to John Wick because John Wick's going.
But you know what it was? It was we only got so much for Lawrence Fishburne in this film. Let's make sure that.
But you got so much for fucking.
You got so much for however
Scott
much
Adkins.
Man,
I was pissed by the Scott Adkins stuff in the theater. I'm like, in that moment, I'm like, I could have took a piss during this right now, because I'm like, I don't want to miss even the action in that scene. I'm like, yeah, this is all right, but I'm like, I know some better stuff is going to come up, and the better stuff came up. Again,
and then it came up.
All the stuff he has to fight his way to get to the church, because I'm like, why didn't you just stay underground and be safe until sunrise? I'm like, oh, he's on the other side of France practically.
Damn, no, that makes sense.
They made this man run all night. The whole thing is he has to be at dawn by 6 a.m. But he can still be killed because he has the bounty on his head. Just because he's challenged this man to a duel doesn't exempt him from a bounty.
Exactly. I don't know, man.
And it's. I don't have any complaints about the action in this. Is still top tier. Chad Stahelski, I don't know how he continues to be I mean, they're not, the only really inventive thing is the in terms of an actual sequence is the fighting in the middle of traffic.
Yes,
but shooting the action is much more
it's a bigger
incredible
deal,
and and he's improved that drastically with each one over the course. But it's still hard to top the horse and the motorcycle sequence in the third to me.
I don't think.
And even him and Common fighting over Italy is still really impressive.
I love that whole scene.
When they duck over the cars while they take turns shooting, and then they tackle each other through the fucking town.
I was looking, there's a lot of beautiful moments in this film, but I think it's kind of like how I look at Inoki Saito. They shot this a certain way and it looks awesome, but there's not a particular frame. It's just, but like you said, if you look into 2 and 3, there's particular moments where you're this was art.
There are times
there are times. No, I'm not saying there aren't times.
Yeah. Well, when John Wick stares at the cherry blossoms and the red neons behind him, and Chad Stahelski now realize that he's a director. He's I could be a painter now, and he's already spoken in the past. I think he already kind of is this guy who besides being this jacked former stuntman turned director, is he's big into classical music, which is why Donnie Yen's daughter plays the violin, and that's why there were concerts in the second one where there's a concert going on that is interrupted with violins and cellos and all that, or just the aesthetic of the ballet as well, that being a part of the universe. So the women in John Wick's family are ballerinas. That's their training method, to be more nimble and quick. So Chad Stahelski still wants to tell these the story so artfully, as well as again visceral with dudes you have to rip knives through their hands and shoot a dude and then have a dog that bites nuts off.
Word. No, that's 100%.
As of right now, you need to do a proper rewatch. Where do you have your rankings?
Right now, I'm probably because I really like 2, but I really like 3. I may be how did 2 end? 2 ended with him being excommunicado, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably 2, 3.
This 1.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 1.
I would probably be 2, 4, 3, 1, and maybe 4 just after rewatching 3 last night is more recency bias.
I would say 4 feels more like a fully, as much as I talk shit about the film, 4 feels more like a fully formed story, where 3 is kind of
everything in this is planned. That's why I'm what could you kind of you could shave stuff down,
right?
But there's nothing that's
100%. You can make this an hour and a half, 2-hour movie if you really wanted to.
Because
if you really wanted to,
you really didn't need to come up with the idea of the radio cutaways to set up him being, the most wanted man in France. That's just an artful. That's I think to make it more artful and more.
The scenes of people walking in. It was all right. Why is it 30 seconds for people walking into this large, spacious room? Why is it got to be John Wick? Poo poo poo, poo poo poo. Every fight in this room was individual. But I mean, it was kind of you could tell, like you're saying, that they were going for a certain aesthetic.
Yeah, he wants to tell a bigger grand story, which is again why I'm probably putting it over 3, which
I understand that.
Which is trying to do the same thing, but I thought he figured it out a lot better for this one.
I will say this: if I don't see John Wick 4 on the day that I drop into LA and I have nothing else going on, I'm probably not going to see it in the theater. So I'm hoping there's an AMC not far near me where I'm staying. I'm going to try and hit it that Tuesday night if I can. I'm going to get really. I'm not going to be sober when I go see that film, but I want to have like a good 2 hours and 40 some minutes of sitting in a theater. Like I want to enjoy myself, especially since I know what the film is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to worry about story. I want to see some wild shit on screen, and it looks like I could get that. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like to be 2 hours and 50 minutes. It was almost in the Batman in the sense of like, damn, yeah, you really couldn't cut anything out because you made everything so meticulous and like it has to be this slow on purpose to be this fast when it needs to be. Right. Yeah, and it's like, and I forget what Chad Stahelski is supposed to do after John Wick 5, but it's at the thing where I talk about like, he's just been stuck in this world where his former colleague David Leitch is the one branching out to do more action comedy, because the thing about John Wick, it started more serious with these moments of comedy, and it still tries to do comedy. But not as much as like David Leitch has shown by doing Deadpool. Hobbs and Shaw is basically a buddy cop, and then Bullet Train is an action comedy, and more a comedy than action film at moments. I mean, which is not a negative, but it's like they have gold with Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson in that film with their back and forth, and Brad Pitt is definitely more interested in being funny than an action badass, but he still kicks ass in that movie.
As of right now, the only thing that's on Chad Stahelski's wiki after John Wick 4 is
Highlander, right?
It doesn't even mention it mentions that he's producing Ballerina, but it doesn't really hold up.
He had been rumored he's been talked to do Highlander with Henry Cavill, I believe. And
he clarified that a remake
for
Warner Brothers were the projects he was currently developing to produce and direct. So maybe, and that was just as of this month. Yeah. So yeah.
And then he and Keanu Reeves were supposed to do a graphic novel I think that was right when the second one was being filmed. They were going to reteam for a different project outside of John Wick. But and him and David Leitch run that company together, the 8711, which is the studio that also trains the actors to do their own stunts as well as produce the films themselves.
That's why Odenkirk was able to do Nobody.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But even then, it's like Bob Odenkirk wasn't asked to do too much. Like Keanu Reeves, they worked with Bob Odenkirk. Like Bob Odenkirk, I got a steady base, but I don't think
that bus scene was hard though. When I first watched that bus scene was great.
When he beats up the generic bad guy, because he's the trained stuntman on set, he's in the fight coordinator. Because he's always the bad guy in all these films.
It was a better bus scene than Shang-Chi.
No, I love the Shang-Chi.
I'm just kidding.
I love
the Shang-Chi.
I love that, especially when the dude's like, as someone who knows Kung Fu, the guy who's filming it is like, here's what you're going to want to do. The guy who
I wish I liked Shang-Chi more, because I don't watch that movie enough, but there's some good shit in that film.
Oh, my only problem with Shang-Chi is Awkwafina, but I love Shang-Chi all the way through.
That's a big problem.
Because they showed the Renfield trailer, and I'm like, no one's going to go see this movie. And I'm like, they only made this movie because they were in the mindset of like, we can't abandon the Universal monsters because we closed the dark universe. But they're like, what if we did funny versions of the monsters?
Yeah, we got the IP. We might, until we can figure out something that's going to make some money. Because that's a Nick Cage movie.
Yeah,
let's get Nick Cage. He'll do it. Let's get some other fuckers. We'll do it.
Nick Cage looks like he's good in it, but the whole movie just looks like you're trying to say like the assistant should be the hero. That was one of the, because I missed the first couple of trailers, but it's again, like I watch these trailers online all the time. So, I think the only movie I'm going to see next is the Guy Ritchie movie, The Covenant. But then the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is in May. Fast X is in May. Some movie season's on the way. No. This was the start.
No.
This was the catalyst. Because
what's the next Marvel film?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see the Flash. Every time I see that trailer,
I don't want to see.
I'm
The
just
Flash is not something I'm hyped for. Guardians.
Yeah.
I'm not hyped for the Guardians.
I am.
I don't think Joker's coming out this year.
No, next year I believe.
I'm hyped for nothing. I'm not even hyped for Joker 2. I'm hyped for nothing right now.
No, that you said you were kind of into the new Oppenheimer trailer.
No, I like the one before this. The last one. I like the one before it.
Yeah.
Maybe The Blackening.
Yeah, The Blackening. Barbie.
You're more hyped for Barbie than I am.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I'm down to see that just for the stunts.
Tom Cruise said you better. I flew off a motorcycle for this.
It's just I feel for the theaters who are like, yo, Hollywood, give us more movies. Like
let me look at it real quick, because again, the movies I kind of named, I'm all hyped for.
I'm like, summer doesn't see. I'm more hyped for TV. Like Succession's coming back, Barry's coming back. It's a lot happening very soon. Movies, I'm not like
Citadel, khal, Amazon's Citadel show. I mean,
that's all you. Yeah, if you're hyped for Amazon Prime, go in. You're not going to get any resistance from me. I'll tell you that much.
Well, when we cover episode 1 of Citadel, so you can be like, what is this shit?
I gotta watch that, huh? When is that coming out?
That's end of April, so you got time.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, you ain't hyped for Indiana Jones 5?
No, I could care less about that. I'm not a big Indiana Jones person, though. I never was.
All right, as of right now, the Dungeons and Dragons movies next
People
Friday.
Are hyped for that, low key.
That doesn't look bad, but I'm not going to see it.
That's going to be a low key banger, I think.
Here's what I forgot to say when we talked about the last time I was at the movies, which was the double feature of Creed 3 and Operation Fortune, but I can't remember which one it played. It might have been Creed 3 when they showed the trailer to this movie Spinning Gold. Did you see that trailer?
I don't think so. No.
I think they said that Jason Derulo is playing Ron Isley.
Oh, I think I saw something about this on Twitter. I didn't watch the trailer though. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the trailer is dog shit.
Jason Derulo as Ron Isley sounds like a movie that's going to be bad.
But the movie, I'm like, it's one of those things where, like, so you obviously want to remake. You want to do what Bohemian Rhapsody did, but
100%.
There's the Air Jordan movie, Air According to Legend. That kind of does have my interest, given the.
I feel like that's going to be ass too, but y'all enjoy that.
The Super Mario Brothers movie, you're not going to take.
I'll probably I'll have to go see that a couple of times. I'm not hyped for that either, though.
Okay, what else is there, real quick?
I'm hyped for Roman Reigns.
Oh, Evil Dead Rise. That trailer was good.
Did you see the video of the guy at South by Southwest?
No.
There was a guy at South by South. They was heckling, and he was like, "This fucking movie sucks."
Bruce Campbell said, "Get the fuck out."
Bruce Campbell's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Yeah.
But did you watch that trailer? The Red Band
I didn't
trailer?
see. I didn't know that was coming out until then. I am low key hyped for that just because they've been so consistent in keeping that storyline going through all of.
I never saw the 2013 remake by Fede Alvarez.
You saw the originals though?
See, that was the thing. I saw the first one, and I turned off the second, maybe 30 minutes in, because I'm like, are you just remaking the first one? But he had the whole rights issue where he had to remake.
Right. Yeah. The first one. The first
and
one.
I've seen Army of Darkness before. I do like Army of Darkness, and again, like that's why I like Multiverse of Madness so much. I'm the only person who loves Multiverse of Madness because Sam Raimi just took
there's a lot. Well,
Army of Darkness and made
in terms of film. We got to get out of here soon. We're pushing 2:30. In terms of filmmaking. When I was in high school and I was taking a video class, we watched scenes from Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, primarily because my man stuck a camera on a 2x4 and used that as like that stick. All of that stuff cracks me up. But I think the thing it's like Evil Dead 1 was like a straight horror film. Evil Dead 2 was like
slapsticky comedy.
Let's do that again, but make it funny. And that's kind of where Army of Darkness and the rest of them kind of fall in. But the fact that it's still Bruce Campbell, it's still relatively the same story with the same people, because they had the whole Ash versus the Evil Dead and all that stuff. Like
Bruce Campbell isn't in this one. He's just
producing.
No, the story is completely original, much like how Evil Dead 2013 was.
But I thought they were kind of Evil Dead 2013 kind of connected though?
It has the stinger at the end where he's Ash, but they haven't hinted at Bruce Campbell's involvement in the trailers. What I'm saying, it's a whole
I mentioned him because he was on that panel. I know he's been doing a lot of producing and stuff, but I was just because he was in the Amazon
he's kind
series.
of the shepherd of the franchise.
I'm assuming
it was on Stars. Yeah,
Stars. I'm sorry. I would assume that he has something in it just because he's been so involved throughout.
Yeah. Again, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Fast X.
Because he was even in a Multiverse of Madness. He was a hot dog guy or whatever.
Pizza Papa.
Yeah. I love those. I love that shit.
The Little Mermaid, The Boogeyman, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is in June. I think you might see that, right?
I'll have to see. I don't know if I'm taking my son to see that, but I definitely
Transformers Rise of the Beast is in June. The Blackening is in June. Again, that's Juneteenth weekend.
BRP 50.
Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. Insidious 5. I don't know if you're into Insidious or not.
No.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The doubleheader of July 21st, Barbie Oppenheimer, which I will see the next day. Haunted Mansion. Oh, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, which we didn't talk about a few weeks ago. I liked that trailer a lot.
That's a Nickelodeon thing, or what's that?
Yeah. Okay. Produced by Seth Rogen. Yeah.
The last couple seasons, the last couple of series have been good as well. They're just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is usually always good, but the Seth Rogen one is interesting.
Yeah, but I like that trailer because they have like actually teen kids voicing them,
right?
And they kind of captured that with the technology to Equalizer 3 apparently is this year. Some other stuff. Kraven the Hunter is later in the year. I don't know if you're going to be into that.
I'm going to be. I'm interested, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Dune Part 2, November 3rd. Denis Villeneuve will be back.
I know we'll be talking about it in November.
The Marvels is November 10th, and there is not much this year after that.
This year it does. There's some things it's not that promising. I know there's
a lot of things for me.
There's a lot for you. The Jonathan Majors Sundance film magazine Dreams got picked up.
December. Yeah,
that's hitting in December. Yeah, so if you want,
I think they're trying to make an award.
Oh, 100%
for him. Yeah,
100%. That's going to be awards bait.
Would make him the Majors Mania, Major Zero.
He would have won 2023. Yeah, for real. It's not even no bullshit.
I mean, he's winning it every day just by being himself. So,
what the thing is, we're saying this in March. There's 2 Marvel films that are going to be coming out.
Yeah,
plus a show.
2.
Like I imagine
that drama this week with Victoria Alonso and her departure.
I'm going to assume the thing is that's a weird situation because they put something on her. She said, "No, that wasn't me."
Yeah,
I'm gonna sue you for that. But I want we got introduced to He Who Remains as a stinger at the end of Loki season 1. Loki season 2 is happening, and that's supposed to be at the very least. I'm assuming they're going back to the Victor Timely timeline, but I think we're gonna get a lot of Jonathan. We have to. Yeah. They have to build him like Thanos.
He said they have to, and he said I want to. So that's why he took the deal.
Jonathan Majors is my 2023 MVP, but we'll see we'll revisit this at the end of the year. Anyway.
Yeah, as I talked about the last few weeks, it was him or Pascal, and it's still I haven't watched this week's Mandalorian as I told him the other day.
Me neither.
But again, John Wick Chapter 4. Again, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 on my Letterboxd.
I'm with that. I'll probably will be there. I just have to watch the thing like in a theater or uninterrupted with actual lighting and video and audio. But I from the gist of what I saw, 1 thumb up.
Again, I never got to watch Siskel and Ebert, so
the best part about Siskel and Ebert is when they would argue. When they did not agree, that was always fun.
Yeah, when they created podcasting.
Facts. We started podding. Yeah, you're right.
Because that's what we do here sometimes. When it's again, Dune Part 2 comes out, and you're like, "This I am not into Denis Villeneuve's slow moving camera or his let's speed it up." But this is White Noise, where we talk about everything I'm into, whether it's wrestling, movies, TV, music. Sometimes that's if Drake drops something, but even then. It's always movies, TV, and wrestling.
Facts.
But on White Noise, I'm always joined by Khal. Khal, where can the people find you on social media?
At Khal on Twitter, at KhalDub on Instagram, at Black Wrestling everywhere else. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling. Every Thursday, we're giving you the Black Wrestling Podcast. 5 mics of podcasting excellence. Patreon.com/Black Wrestling. You pay the 1, pay the 10 to get content like this and other shit that we be doing. Yeah, that's it. You can catch me in LA if you out in LA.
I was about to say, yeah. But if you see Khal, ask him for an autograph. He'll happily sign it.
I'll say this: if you're in LA, make me take a pic. I need some proof of life. Like I need some proof that I'm outside. So if you see me, I'll take a picture with you. Just say, hey, can we take a picture? Yeah, bet. Let's go. I need people to know that I was outside. So
You're not computer generated. You're not.
Yeah. I am not AI. I'm not a Chat GPT. I'm a actual.
You see that they're allowing AI screenwriters now?
Man, when I saw that the people that bought my former employer said they're going to start making lists with the AI, I said, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, though. Just I'm not saying that employers doing that, but like AI making lists is like that's spot on. Like this is what the people want.
No, that's the thing. It does until you're getting like the same shit every week. Like
you already get the same shit every week.
5 Denis Villeneuve movies you need to see tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I already saw why?
Because every website does that already. Whether it's GQ or Forbes, they all do that. Here's what's new this month on Netflix. Here's what's leaving HBO Max, and I'm like, this is men's health. What do you mean? Why should I care about that?
But I think my thing is if you knew that GQ was being completely written by AI, you're not going to GQ anymore.
Yeah,
it's not going
to. They'll now never be the case because like clothes will be like, I mean, robots will be like, why would you need clothes? Like,
yeah. Well, the funny thing is with so much with clothes, it's all recycled anyway. So by the time we get here, it's going to be, oh, this was hot in 1994. But anyway, Drip.
You can find me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip, Instagram Davis DC. Thank you for being a patron where you pay the 1 or you pay the 10. I think special perks are coming soon.
Hopefully. Don't get me lying out here, but
I mean, he's the one who created it, so I mean, If you see that man in LA, follow him wherever he goes.
You better ask him.
Greatly appreciate that, and ask him why don't you do this? Why don't you?
I mean, something may be happening. TBD.
But make sure you're following Black Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, like Hal said, YouTube, IG. There is a TikTok. Mimi Shells has done a good job of running. I don't know why I call her Mimi Shells. Just like Mimi has done a good job running that. Because it isn't an avenue we just haven't explored as much. What else do we got? Again, Patreon, where you get all the other content, like Hal says.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's probably the best.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.